Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 10 of the AnnoCinema podcast. As usual, I am Chester Law, and today I am joined by a very special guest, Yoko Higuchi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And Yoko Higuchi is, of course, one of the production assistants on Shin Godzilla, right?
Yes.
And so you worked somewhat like an actual staff of the Shin Godzilla.
An actual staff.
That's so insane to me.
Oh, I mean, I'm glad you brought me on board. I've been following your page for a while, and I've never met someone who knew more about Anno than I have. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's hard to meet people who know about like his work and his life. So it was cool to find your page and then to do this all of a sudden. So that was cool.
I mean, I'm surprised your bio on your Twitter doesn't say like you worked on Shin Godzilla.
Oh.
That's like such a calling card feeling.
Yeah, I feel like if I did that, I feel like my kind of amateur career as a filmmaker would only be focused on that aspect.
I see.
So I kind of wanted to hide it and maybe in conversation say, well, I was a PA on Shin Godzilla, and not kind of just have it be in the forefront.
Like be your big header, your big slogan.
Exactly.
Got it. No, it makes sense. But so you previously knew Anno's work? You just said
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Evangelion, and I saw Neon Genesis when I was 14, so that was kind of I kind of felt like I was Shinji, not in terms of a character, but in terms of what he was going through with being in a new school, because I think 14 is when you just enter middle school, I believe, and then his troubling sexuality as to he's surrounded by all these people, and just kind of being his age kind of made me feel closer to him. And then I saw the end of Evangelion, and that and Inception made me want to become a filmmaker. I think those two films kind of pushed me over the edge and said wow, cinema is an art form that I want to follow into. Right. So the end of Evangelion I owe a lot to for my career path right now.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because end of Evangelion is a weird one in film because it's it's the last two episodes to a show.
You can't. The only fault I think that movie has is that you can't watch it just on its own. You need the context of all the other films. Uh-huh. But I mean, it's just meant to be the final two episodes. So it serves its purpose as the last two episodes of the show. So it's interesting to watch that movie, and it's interesting to now see the end of Evangelion and then episodes 25 and 26 and how they're similar yet different, because 25 and 26 are all about the internal struggles of the characters, and then the end of Evangelion is both external and internal. So it's kind of strange to see how this vision is grander than the other vision, but it's basically saying the same thing, almost. So I found that aspect really interesting.
Right. So you were a big Anno fan before joining the... Yeah.
And I was a bigger Godzilla fan beforehand.
You're more of a Godzilla fan than an Anno fan, or...?
I would say so. If I had to pick one, I would say I'm more of a Godzilla person. That is a franchise that I've stuck around with since I was 1 or 2, something like that.
Got it.
And then I heard news that in the next Godzilla film was going to be Anno and Shin Higuchi, and there was a moment of shock of my hero director is writing and co-directing this movie. I thought, I have to get in there somehow.
Oh yeah, So, I totally want to get into the Shin Godzilla, but I want to lead up to paint the picture. I think everyone's dying to hear about the Shin Godzilla story also. Mm-hmm. But I just want to get a picture of leading up to that. Mm-hmm. At that point, it was 2015, 2014.
It was it was the first half of 2015.
And at that point, which of Anno's works, other than Evangelion, obviously, did you watch already?
I haven't seen all of his works, but I have seen Nadia, of course. I've seen Love and Pop, which is super influential for me as an amateur filmmaker, because it shows that you can do so much with practically no budget,
right.
And just strange camera angles and that kind of thing. And then I've seen Cutie Honey. Yes, I've seen Cutie Honey. I haven't seen. I believe there's a sequel to that. Live action Cutie Honey.
There's this TV show Cutie Honey,
right?
But it's not Anno.
It's not Anno. Yeah.
There's a Cutie Honey anime, sort of Anno. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really feel Anno, honestly. So I don't know how to really gauge that.
So I think those 3 are the main ones, and then this is not really Anno, but Miyazaki's The Wind Rises. That's his voice, but that's not really his work.
It sounds like you pretty much saw everything. Maybe other than Shikijutsu, you didn't.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I've seen like the ones that are big, like the major Anno works. Like
Love and Pop, that's not that big.
That's true. That is true.
I was curious if you had seen Love and Pop as well.
I actually
I love Love and Pop as well.
I love Love and Pop. And I was actually told to watch it after I was in the Shin Godzilla production team. They said, "Oh, you have to watch this movie." And then,
Love and Pop?
Yes. And then I went to a rental store in Japan.
Oh, so you hadn't seen Love and Pop before you?
It was so hard for me to find a copy of it.
Got it.
And then I was in Japan. I thought, well, they have to have a DVD of it somewhere at like a rental store.
Absolutely, well, they do.
Yeah. So I went.
Was
over
it easy
there.
to find?
Oh yeah.
Really?
I asked someone. They were like, "Oh yeah, it's
right there.
It's if you go down this hall and you go on this."
Oh my god, they know what Love and Pop is?
They had to search.
Oh, okay.
No, of course they had to search.
It's not like off of their top of their head. They're like,
those guys are pretty knowledgeable about what they have in their collection, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not like if I went to an American DVD store and said, I want to look for Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah.
It's not like everybody knows Jurassic Park or some shit like that.
I think somebody, the lady had to ask another person in the store, and they went, "Oh, I know where it is," and then like walked me towards.
So the dude knew off the top of his dome.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And it seemed like that dude worked at that store for like 10 years, 15 years.
Oh, okay, so he's like a cinephile.
Yeah, he's
like
hardcore. Yeah.
Got it. So you watched Love and Pop
late in the game.
Late in the game.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think like now we have a picture that you're pretty hardcore. Mm-hmm. Like you've watched pretty much all
his big ones. Yeah.
His big ones. So it was. How did you get into it?
Ooh, that is
like how were you invited to it? What was
I
the
think
entire thing?
My cousin, who is a big cinephile, he went to SVA.
What now is that? SVA.
It's a School of Visual Arts in. It's on like 23rd Street, I think. Something like that. And then now he's in Japan working for a commercial company. But he's a big movie geek, like more than me. Like he watches 10 movies a day. Like that's his entire life. And then he. One day he gave me a DVD of the Rebuild movie, the first one. Mm. And he said, "Well, you can't watch this yet. You have to watch the TV show to get this movie." Uh-huh. So I thought, okay, so I guess I have to watch the show to get this movie that he gave me. And then I saw the show, and then the end of Evangelion, and then You Are Not Alone.
Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, so you're pretty young then.
I'm 23.
You're 23. Oh, yeah, not too much. I'm 26.
26, yeah.
But just to hear that, I guess that's right. Actually, the first Rebuild came out 2007. 2007, yeah. And it probably came out on DVD 2008, 9.
Yeah. But I got the copy from him. Like it's like a Japanese like torrent DVD that works on like region free.
Oh, I see.
Back then, so I was able to put it in my DVD player, but yeah.
Yeah, naturally, in retrospect, I probably watched NGE around 2007, but somehow I wasn't aware of the rebuilds until way after.
Oh, okay.
Until like 3 or 4 years after.
Oh, really?
For some reason, I don't know why, but it just came to be. Mm-hmm. I had this mental conception somehow that like the rebuilds came way after I watched NGE. Oh, when that was totally not true. Now that I'm thinking back on it,
right?
But no, but my question of how you got into it was more so how you got into the production of Shin Godzilla.
Oh, sorry. I got into it I had to get in somehow. So I penned up a letter in English. I can't read or write in Japanese, but I can speak fluently.
Got it.
So I wrote a letter in English, and then my mother translated it in Japanese, and I sent both letters to Toho Studios. Uh-huh. And I sent one more in the mail, and so I sent one in the mail and one in the email.
One in the mail, one in the email. Got it.
So I'm trying to attack them from both corners. Then 2 months went by, no word, so I thought it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
And then at some point I got this email, and the only words that I can read in Japanese are Godzilla, and in the subject header it said Godzilla.
Yeah.
And the email was like at Toho Studios .co.jp. I thought, no way. Uh-huh. And then I was like, Mom, you have to read this for me. I can't read this. I can't read this email.
Yeah.
And then she read it, and she said, it says something like, we're if you want to do like a Skype interview, then you're more than welcome to interview for the position. And I had a 5-minute moment of just numbness.
Yeah.
in my body.
I can imagine.
Where am I right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So about a week later, I did a Skype interview with some of the Toho heads.
Heads?
Well, not the heads of the company, but the heads of the production team of specifically Godzilla stuff. Like it was like a specific Godzilla committee team that they had.
Heard of that.
Yeah. So I spoke with them through Skype, and I guess the purpose of the Skype interview was to test how good my Japanese was. Okay. I think they wanted to see, like, can I follow basic instructions in Japanese? Can I get there on the train by myself? Like, do I need to be escorted by somebody, or do I need like a translator, or
which would kind of be a deal breaker?
Yeah, I think if I couldn't speak Japanese well, I think they would say I'm sorry, but no. Yeah, of course. So I did the interview, and they said, okay, we'll contact you back in a couple days. And 4 hours later, they said, oh yeah, you have the job.
Oh, wow.
And they sent me a map of Toho Studios and like, come on this day and whatever. So I just bought a plane ticket.
Right.
Yeah, and then I was in Japan for 4 months at Toho Studios. So that was quite something.
And at the time, so this was what year, 2015?
2015, so I was 20.
You were 20, and what were you doing at that point? Were you in school or working?
I chose to not go to college to pursue my own filmmaking career.
Right on.
So I was in kind of a rut of, if I continue in this path for too much longer, I'm either going to have to go back to school, or I have to think about a different career, because I can't just keep making short films on my own because they're not getting seen by anyone. Okay. So I thought, like, at 20, I have to make some drastic movements, or else I'm not going to get in the film industry just by filming something with my crew and just uploading onto YouTube. Like, it's not going to work. And then, lo and behold, this happened. So I was kind of doing my own stuff, and I still am doing my own stuff, but it was less professional back then because it was like 3 years ago. So I feel like I've grown a little bit since then. But it's been like indie filmmaking stuff for me, at that age.
Right. Okay, so you were making your own films. Mm-hmm. So you weren't, what I meant, I guess the idea is you didn't have to cut school, you didn't have to cut work, you didn't quit your job to do this whole thing. You were flexible to do it.
Yes.
So you decided, obviously it's an insane opportunity. I mean, you would jump at the end. I would fucking quit my job. Oh, yeah. Fucking do it. Like, tomorrow I'm going to my boss and saying I'm quitting until like PA or join the Shin Godzilla production. But anyway, so you bought a ticket, you flew to Japan, and you had to coordinate that on your own. They didn't really.
It wasn't that difficult. All I had to do was just, I went to Toho Studios once before my official job began, and they would go around and introduce me to all these people and kind of get comfortable with the environment, because I have to stay here for the next 4 months. Right. So it wasn't too hard to coordinate with them, and they were super gracious of me. I'm super grateful for their help, because they really did kind of speak Japanese a little more slowly with me and try to articulate a little more and simplify the language for me, and it was just a really healthy environment for everyone, and I couldn't be more thankful for them being so generous and so gracious of me, and just they were so nice. So it wasn't hard at all to coordinate with people or ask for help.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just trying to get this entire picture. So you flew to Japan. You flew to Tokyo. My aunt lives in Tokyo, so me and my mother stayed at her apartment for the next 4 months. Oh, your mom came as well. Yes, she did. Okay, cool.
So I had to. I lived in my aunt's house, and then I took the train. The train is about like an hour and a half to Toho Studios.
Toho Studios. Yeah. Where is Toho Studios?
Toho Studios is in this place called oh boy, ooh, that's not good. I'm forgetting the name.
Is it Kanagawa?
It's not. I think
it's in the south.
It's like Seijo Gakuen or something like that.
Should we pull up a map?
Yeah, let's pull up a map. I think the bus stop is.
Bus stop. Is it in this? Oops, shit.
It might be past that. It's probably around Kawasaki. Interesting. Can we search up?
I guess we can just search for Toho Studios.
Yeah, because I think it's on.
So apparently it's right in the middle.
There we go. That's it.
That's totally not where I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Setagawa.
Yeah. Apparently. Do you know where the Aqualine is?
Oh, the Aqualine.
Of course you know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea where
I feel like it's obviously in Tokyo Bay.
It's Tokyo Bay, so it's gotta be.
I guess we can just search for it. Aqualine, Tokyo Bay Aqualine.
So it is there. It is that line. Okay.
I should go there. That'd be fun to check out.
Yeah, we had to do a location scout for that place, and we drove from Tokyo.
So when you got there, it's early 2015 when you got there.
I started work. My official first day of work was August 1st, 2015. Yeah.
And what was the stage of production at this point? Was it still pre-production?
This was still pre-production. But I did get a script on my first day. I got the script.
Was the final version already?
It was the it was like close to the final version. If the final version was the fourth draft, then this would be like the third draft. Like it was very close to being done. But I got a script, and once you enter the office, it says SG at the door for Shin Godzilla, and then the walls are covered with storyboards for the movie, and the casting was already done by the time I got there. In my screenplay was the entire cast.
Got it.
So that was already done. So so what I was doing in the beginning was taking pictures of various locations around Tokyo, and they will later on use that for inspiration to say, so he's gonna come up ashore on this area, and then he'll move to this area and then break this bridge or that kind of thing. So all of us had to like take our iPhones and take different pictures from different angles, and then all those pictures will be like reference shots for the movie. I have that as well.
Yeah, that as well.
This is the Order of Shin Godzilla, yes.
There's location hunt photos. Did you take any of these photos?
I don't think so, because mine were...
Oh, right. Well, you own this book too, so you must have looked through.
Yes, I did. Interestingly enough, my handwriting is in this book.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's on...
Which side? I have like storyboard section, preview section.
It's in the notes. It's like page 108. It's like this section. It's one of these notes that they have. Is there a bookmark for the documents in the film?
No, I mean these are the only. These are the main parts that I was concerned with. Mm-hmm. Location huntings, storyboards, previs.
I was hoping that I'd find myself in the pages of this book, but I only found my handwriting, which I guess that's not too terrible.
Like you wanted to see your face in it?
I wanted to see my face in this.
I mean, that'd be like, yeah.
But I took a lot of pictures on set, so I'm very happy.
Which cover did you get?
I got both of these.
But not this one?
I didn't have this one. I think
you still have these?
I do at home.
Oh, really? They let you keep it?
Yeah, they did. And this one, I had Shinji Higuchi sign this, actually.
Wow.
So I was very happy for that. This, I think, was this was a earlier draft, I believe, that I was not on board at that point to get this. So what I got was this, and then this was the final draft of the script.
Yeah, so it says.
Mm-hmm. Then... Yeah, I remember going to these places.
I mean, some of these shots are exactly, like this shot is like exactly as
the
it
same.
was in the film. Mm-hmm. Not that our podcast listeners understand at all what we were talking about. This one too.
Yep.
This one sort of, it was like cropped like this and the people are standing over there.
And this is where his tail like sweeps over.
Oh yeah, right. So, this one, I remember this one. This is where Godzilla destroys it like that. So yeah, anyway, a lot of them are this from the deleted scene.
Yeah, with the river.
Blood.
That was a hard day of shooting for that one.
Yeah, there was that deleted scene with blood.
Yeah, I got covered in Godzilla blood, and I had to ride the train like that, so people thought I was like a murderer. Oh, because I was my jeans were covered.
So
in
they did it in practical.
They did it in practical. They shot a shot of that of those rails. And on a blue screen, they added the water in, and the rails that bend are like miniature toys that they pulled on strings, and then they'd rise.
Because it's hot.
Because it's hot, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting shoot. It was really messy. But these storyboards in this book were plastered all over the wall. Right. With like a bunch of notes
Apparently
written
these
on
are drawn by Shinji Higuchi.
Yes, they were.
Do you share a last name with Shinji Higuchi?
I do. That caused so much confusion on set.
Oh, really? Were they calling him Higuchi?
A lot of people thought I was his son.
Whoa, really?
A lot of people.
I guess he looks somewhat similar.
A little bit.
One could see that.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
It's a little embarrassing because there's always a pause every time I had to introduce myself. In Japanese, you have to say that the last name and then the first name.
Yeah.
So there's that moment of,
whoa.
Are you
Director
Higuchi? Something? No. I'm not. I am no way affiliated with him in any way. I'm just some guy.
That you happen to share the last name.
Yeah, I
down
just
to the
share
kanji.
Down to the kanji. It's the same. So that's just even more confusion.
Right.
With them. Oh man, this is giving me flashbacks.
So you were there the entire production, basically.
I was there for the entire production. I wasn't there for some of these scenes because I mostly stayed in the production side of it.
What is that?
The special effects department side.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't near the actors a lot. I was mostly with the kaiju stuff and the explosions and that kind of thing.
The explosions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but the thing with the kaiju is that it got scrapped.
It got scrapped.
So like, if you're saying you mostly you work on the special effects.
Yes.
Other than the explosions, mostly got scrapped. Oh, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
It's you, younger
yeah.
version of yourself. Right.
Just the animatronic was, I guess, it wasn't realistic enough for Anno. And I guess in hindsight, seeing the film as it is, I think it was the better option to go with the CG effects, not the practical effects, because I did notice a bit that the head was kind of like wobbly. Yeah. Because it is made of rubber and there's no person in it. It's just like it's a guy like underneath, like controlling the movements of the body, but the head is kind of like wobbling.
Right.
So it wasn't too realistic.
Yeah.
But it was a bit of a shame to see a lot of the practical effects go. But as long as it services the film as a whole, then like it's fine.
Right.
But it was kind of strange to see the first cut. The final cut of the film and go like, oh wow, like a lot of the stuff that we shot wasn't in the film.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like, oh okay.
How many days were you on the special effects stuff?
It was I would say 2 months.
2 months. 2 months out of the 4 months.
2 months out of the 4 months. Yeah, I would say it was mostly because the first month there was no shooting. It was mostly like this kind of stuff, location scouting and trying to kind of build the sets of like the Prime Minister's office or what have you.
Right.
And then from about...
Dude, I thought they got access to the Prime Minister's office.
Some of them is shot like the scene where it's like the police head, the head of the police, like that's in the actual office.
The one where like Yaguchi's getting him to find Goromaki.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, do you want like a red notice?
Red notice. Yeah.
That scene is actually shot like in the actual place. Yeah. Mm. Sadly, I wasn't there for that, but that's what I've heard. Right. But it's shot in the actual place.
So what's like what was their criteria for what they would rebuild into a recreate versus going to actual place?
It was mostly the cabinet stuff for all the group. All the group shots are done in the studio, so it's just. It was a bunch. I think it was in Studio 9 or 7, where they built the replicas of like the war rooms, and they had like those cabinet meeting rooms, and it's just there was no ceiling. It was just like 3 walls, and then they placed the camera in different angles.
Right, yeah,
so
of course.
Most of it was just sets. I would say a good 80% of the film that's not like exterior. All the interior stuff, like around 80%. 75% are like sets.
It was like on a soundstage kind of thing.
On a soundstage, yeah.
Yeah, cool. No, yeah.
Yeah, it was a real hassle doing all this, but it was really fun. It was super rewarding.
So what was the so you did special effects for Godzilla? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the explosions. Are you talking about?
Explosions. So they would have a blue screen, basketball size thing that they'd film, and they'd put explosive charges on it, and then the camera would film it and it'll explode, and then they'll superimpose it on top of Godzilla's head.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So all the explosions are practical.
Right.
It's just superimposed on top of the CG head.
Yeah.
So that ball had to represent Godzilla's head. So we had to set charges and then get a wet towel, wet them, do it again, do it over and over and over again like that. That was quite tricky.
What was the wet towel for?
The explosive device is still on fire
okay.
after it explodes. So we have to douse it immediately. So that was my job to run up to like an on fire explosive with a wet towel. That was frightening.
There's no like they didn't give you like a fire extinguisher or
a
hose.
We didn't have the money for that.
You didn't have the money. It's a freaking Godzilla Toho.
They had a a lot of them were complaining about the lack of budget, but
who was?
Just people in general.
Really?
Because the vision for this film was so grand and so big. Because of course Anno wants the biggest and the best of what he makes, and but even Anno was surprised in the first meeting that we had with Anno. He was like, "Oh wow, Toho actually gave us money. Okay, that's surprising."
Oh, yeah?
But even then, it was still a little difficult trying to accomplish everything through practical effects, and then later on, Anno wanted CG effects later on. Right. So I heard something like they had to use a lot of the Godzilla vs. Evangelion profits to fund the movie later on, or something like that.
Really?
I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. But
was it a huge controversy when Anno was like, "We're gonna scrap all the," like, was Toho like super pissed?
I was not in Toho at that point. That decision happened probably like early 2016. Mm-hmm. Like after all the filming is wrapped.
At which point you had come back to
I was already in the States, yeah. But
Got it.
I feel like it wasn't, speaking with all the other people on the crew, it seems like it was a very smooth process, and they let Anno do whatever the hell he wanted to do because he's Anno.
Yeah.
And apparently I heard that Toho initially wanted to have like a romance in the film. Originally it was going to be that Kayoko and Patterson was like an old girlfriend to Higuchi.
Okay.
And then Anno was like, "No, I don't want that."
So did Anno come up with all the characters? Like,
that script is entirely his.
Entirely his.
Yeah,
okay, so he wrote the script in Toho. What you're saying is you heard a rumor.
I heard a rumor that Toho like wanted them to be like, "Oh, you're my ex-boyfriend," or whatever.
Right.
And then Anno said, "No, I don't want a romance in the film."
At all.
Because like my film is meant to be like a government kind of
it would distract from the...
It really would.
It would distract and like kind of confuse like what is the thesis of the film.
Exactly.
If there was like romance in it.
Again, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard amongst the people who were working there, that was like the original intent.
Right. I haven't read too much about like the rumors and stuff, but I heard that they originally wanted it to be like a found footage film. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that, no, but I think that would be interesting based on the first teaser trailer that came out for Shin Godzilla. It was just like
running.
It was all
I saw it in the theater. I saw that. I was watching
really?
Saraba something. Mm-hmm. It was like an old TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what it's called. Anyway, it was like this kind of campy TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Tokyo at the time, and my friend was like, "Let's watch this movie." I'm like, "Okay, let's watch."
And then it played
it played the Shin Godzilla trailer. Kind of to my chagrin. I mean, I didn't really want to see the Shin Godzilla trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to watch the movie.
Right.
I'm very much so a non-trailer kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
I got pissed when I was in Thailand and I was riding the subway and they were playing a trailer and it was the Prime Minister walking. I'm like, okay, you don't know it's Shin Godzilla, right?
Right.
But how I knew it was Shin Godzilla was the tanks turning, the turrets turning. I'm like, that's fucking, god damn.
It's like of course it is.
Yeah. I'm like, this is fucking, I'm like, avert my gaze.
Right.
So like, I'm a super non-trailer kind of dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I see.
I can watch it after. So
it's better to be honest that way.
Yeah. So that's way.
Going fresh, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw that trailer. Luckily, that trailer didn't really spoil anything. I mean, obviously, people are going to run because of Godzilla. So.
Yeah, and none of the other trailers really spoiled the movie. It was mostly just like a visual montage, and it wasn't even about the plot. And the big reveal of that Godzilla evolves wasn't in the trailer, which I was like, okay, great. Because I was a little worried because of course, I worked on the film, so I knew that was going to be a thing.
Right.
So I was worried that information would end up being on the internet somewhere. That like, oh, he evolves or something, and that would be like a big spoiler because that's the whole premise of the movie is that he evolves into like a different form.
Right.
You know, and that was.
And that's why he's undefeatable because he'll always.
Exactly, and that was like a new thing for Godzilla that he doesn't evolve. So it was like a new like Anno spin on the character. So I was so nervous to kind of see, like, is that going to be, like, on a poster or something? Because I really don't want that to be on a poster.
Yeah.
But it was, like, a big secret. So I was like, okay, fantastic.
Right.
Great.
So you were working on the explosions and for another 2 months?
It was it was a bunch of stuff. It was, like, explosions and, you know that shot where it's Godzilla in his fourth form and he, like, steps and then the tiles in the rooftop like shakes.
Yeah.
We did stuff like that, like pretty much any of the practical effects.
Oh really?
The one where he steps on like the side of the mountain and like it crumbles underneath. Like we did that practically.
Right.
Just any of the practical effects.
Were you there for the one where the dude was like, "Oh mother, you gotta pack faster and stuff," and then they got like trampled.
I was there for not the CG part where they like superimposed them into the miniature.
Tiny house?
Yeah, but I was there for when they shot the miniature bit.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that was a big contraption where they basically had a thing that's maybe 15 feet long, and then the whole thing had to tilt.
Right.
Yeah, so that was it was very dangerous, and I wasn't allowed to be near it because only the people that like operate the machinery, because if that falls on you, you can die.
Oh yeah.
It was very heavy. Mm-hmm. So like me and several other people like weren't allowed to be near it. Like we just had to kind of watch from like a couple yards away and see like, oh, how's it going? And then they'll call action, and then they'll call cut. And it's like, okay, that was it.
It's such an organic thing because like if that fails, I don't know why it would fail, but like if it somehow fails, you have to reset up every little couch,
every little thing,
piece of newspaper back into the thing, and then reshoot it. I mean, I assume did they do more than one take of that thing? Or?
That one, I don't remember, but
in general,
they did more than one takes of several of these shots where the building is like tumbling.
Right.
The one where it's at the end of the film, and it's the Yashiori strategy, and they're like crashing the buildings on top of Godzilla. Right. Some of those shots where you see all the desks and chairs like fall out the window. That was done a couple of times because it didn't look good enough for the camera.
In what way does it not look good enough?
I think it was the shot itself that the camera didn't move properly. And,
the camera didn't. Right.
And Inoue, who is the effects director, was very specific on what he wanted it to look like.
That looked real. That looked legit.
Yeah, it looked very real. And
I don't know how they got the glass to shatter so freaking tiny.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I saw it in real time and I was like, oh wow, that looks like glass. Okay.
A lot of those shots fooled me. I mean, especially in the theater. Honestly, so right now when I watch Shin Godzilla, I do see like the sort of fakeness of the CGI.
Yeah, of course.
But somehow, like when I saw it in the theater in Japan,
it looks real.
I didn't see those. Maybe because it was on a giant screen.
Maybe that like it's so overwhelming on a big screen, and if you watch it on your computer, you can kind of like look close on the screen and like analyze it.
Yeah. What is that?
But me too. As I was watching it, I thought, wow, that looks really good.
I was totally fooled. I thought the helicopters were real.
Okay.
Like I was that fooled. I was that like. Maybe it was just like the realism, the atmospheric realism got me.
And I worked on the film, and I never knew that those tanks were fake.
Oh yeah, right.
I never knew they were fake. I was like, oh wow, those were CG.
Oh wow, they got real tanks to shoot this movie.
Yeah, I was like, okay, because I heard a lot about on set, like some of the crew guys would go to like the army bases. So I like automatically assumed that like, oh, the army has.
I think some of the jet takeoffs are real.
Oh, those are real because
some of them are fake.
I think most of the takeoffs are real except when it's like a bunch of them. I think like the individual helicopters taking off are real, but I think there's that one shot where there's like 4 helicopters like kind of
flying through.
Well,
yeah,
and then that can't be real.
No, yeah, that's not gonna be real.
But it was amazing how much stuff they did practically, and even if it wasn't practical, like the CG really held up. And for a movie that was around $15 million, it looks very good.
Yeah. 50 American US dollars. Right?
US dollars.
Yeah. I mean, the American like Hollywood budgets are like insane, like 300 million.
It's going to be like
150 million.
It's going to be like 10 times more than that.
Yeah.
And even that's not that expensive.
Right.
So it was a miracle to see it all come together in the end. Like it was really just a
$50 million. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Considering I mean, it's just like Anno. I guess it's Anno, right? It's like intellect over resources. It
is the Anno vision, and I think when he sets out to accomplish something, he really does.
Yeah.
He's I think he's one of the most stubborn people I've ever seen.
Really?
Like he's very like I need to get this done. And I remember there was one time when Higuchi set up one of the scenes for Anno. Then Anno walked in.
Which scene was this?
It was one of the which one was it? I think it was the one where it's the Taba strategy, and they're like shooting him with tanks.
Okay.
And then it's where it's the military base, and the guy is like on the phone and like commanding the orders, and the tent falls.
Okay.
That that sequence was shot in a soundstage,
Okay.
And Anno walked in, and Higuchi has it set up already. Like, he's done the whole thing. Like, the blocking's going to be like this, and the actor's going to be here. And then Anno walked in and went, "Can you change it entirely?" And then he like walked out. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, he gave a lot of people a hard time, not because he's like an asshole, because he's like super nice, but he's very detail oriented. If the camera is even 2 millimeters off, he will notice it. So a lot of people were kind of complaining, like, oh my god, the filming is taking so long. What the hell?
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people were complaining because Anno has an anime background.
Right.
That you can control anything in anime because it's all hand drawn.
Right.
But in live action, you kind of have to roll with the punches a little bit.
Right.
But he just refused to just like improvise, and he just wanted to get what he wanted to get exactly how he saw it in his mind.
Right.
So a lot of the crew members were like, okay, let's reset the shot. Okay.
And this is regards to special effects for now. You're talking about right now.
Both, just in general, like everything.
So what about the acting? Was there a lot of? I suppose from what you were saying, there's no improvisation on the acting then.
Mostly no. I think not that I've seen, and I wasn't there for most of it, so I'm not the expert on this.
Right, you can't definitively say.
Exactly, but from what I've seen of him and how he works, he really was very detail oriented, and he had everything that he wanted the actors to do and say, like, all in his head.
Imagine.
Yeah, it was, and he's so calm about it too. He just kind of sits in his chair and kind of goes like that, and then he'll stand up and kind of like, it's almost like a whisper. Like, I can't even hear him. He's such a quiet man. He'll stand up and kind of just say, like, can you go over here? Then you're gonna do this. You're gonna do this, and it felt so calming. And yet, when he calls cut, he goes, again, I didn't like it. So he's very, very much so like an artist.
That's kind of like very like it's very strict. Like this. Again, I didn't like it. That's so like.
I think he's strict when it
he's
comes to...
not letting down the actors easy.
No.
It's not like, oh, that was good, but I want it to be like this, or let's do another approach.
He sometimes does that when he's in a good mood.
Yeah.
And also if he likes the actors, like if he's comfortable with some of the actors.
So which ones is he comfortable?
He was very comfortable with Hasegawa, who played
Yaguchi.
Yaguchi, yeah. He was very comfortable with him, and Hasegawa as a person, it seems like he's just a very calm person, and also he takes direction very well.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's very professional, and if Anno tells him to do something in the next shot, he's on it. And who else was he comfortable with? I forget her name, but the person who played the what's her name? She's the biologist.
Ogashiru?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know her name. A lot of people fangirl over her.
Yeah.
I don't know her name.
She, I think, was in Cutie Honey. She was in Cutie Honey, and they seem to have a very like friendly relationship on set.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah. Well, it seemed from the premiere. The red carpet.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, he was very comfortable with her, and the guy, Matsuo, who played, what's his name? He's the guy who throws the who hits Yaguchi with the water bottle.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, calm down, like
right.
like you calm down first.
Yeah.
He's a very like funny, lighthearted kind of guy. So
I can see that.
So he was very he's kind of, his character is kind of similar to Higuchi in a way, kind of very upbeat, and Higuchi's also very upbeat. Okay. So they kind of share like a very similar personality. Yeah. So I think Anno kind of sees a little bit of Higuchi in his character a little bit. Right. So he was very comfortable with Anno on and off set, and even afterwards he was very comfortable with him. Like at the rap parties, he was like, "Hey." So he's very nice. I gave him a tour of New York City early 2016 actually. So he was very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, he was cool. But yeah, Anno was how he works. Like, his work ethic is incredible to see in person, and it's someone who I admired for a long time. And to see him work was just like it was a great honor to see how his creative process kind of continues on and on. Yeah.
So how many takes does he do? He's like,
A lot. He does a lot of takes, and some of the actors, and it's hard for the actors because they speak so fast.
Yep.
So I felt really bad for some of the actors because it's take after take of just like rapid fire dialogue.
Yeah.
And they had to do it over and over and over again. And if you watch the bloopers on the DVD, like there's so many times where they flub up a line, or it was just it was a lot of takes until he wants it done. That's right. Yeah, and sometimes it'd be over schedule. Sometimes we go late in the night, and then we have to finish the scene on the next day or something like that. So it really depends on how on point the actors are on that day, and if Anno was kind of okay with the camera work and kind of seeing everything. And
how does that work in Japan? The overtime thing, is it like you get paid extra? Not necessarily I'm not asking for your economics, but like just like basically filmmaking in Japan. Is it like America or Europe where it's like overtime is overpay?
Right. I believe no, because there aren't any film unions in Japan.
Oh, there
so a lot of the film crew, it's kind of infamous around people who work in film, is that a lot of people on the crew like end up dying from just like pure tiredness.
In Japan,
specifically because some people work so late that sometimes they get like a little tired behind the wheel and then they crash into their car.
Oh my God.
Or something happens and just like people pass out. So they work until their bodies physically can't function.
I mean, that's like the Japanese work culture in general, beyond film, and so that's why I was wondering in particular, because like you know, I guess the understanding of people who have not worked in Japan is that like, people work late hours, late into the night.
Yep.
And so I was just like translating that culture to film would be. If it's overtime, it's overtime. There's no complaining. There's no like, I need to be paid more money.
Exactly.
It's kind of the culture.
It's all for the craft, to be honest. Like it's all for the filmmaking, and everyone really has to respect the director's wishes, because whoever he or she is, they're the one who makes the final call of, all right, we're gonna either stop now or just keep going.
Right.
So we have to just kind of be like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and just go forward with it. But and thankfully, because I worked in the effects department, I didn't have to stay too late. But some of the other guys who I knew who were in the A unit, and the A unit is with the actors and stuff.
Okay, what unit are you? B unit?
B. I was B.
Okay.
The A unit, some of those guys had to go home like 11 or 12, and sometimes I see. When I get to the office, like some guy is sleeping on the floor, or like in the chair, like with his head leaned back,
like freaking Yaguchi's team.
Like exactly, and I think my cousin said that Shin Godzilla might be a good way to show foreigners how Japanese people act.
Yeah,
because that's kind of how they are. Is that they tirelessly work and they just keep going, and they don't complain. They don't get tired. They just kind of. They keep trucking forward.
So actually, it would be a good opportunity to just ask like some questions I didn't understand about Shin Godzilla. I think it was pertinent to because of like a Japanese culture thing. So there.
I may not be able to answer all the questions, but I'll try my best.
Like there were 2 speeches by Yaguchi where after the decimation of Tokyo, wherein like everyone's died, but we must continue on.
Yep.
It was met with this weird silence afterwards.
Oh yeah.
What was up with that? And then there was this one guy, if you notice, it was like a very wide shot, and one guy in the right was bowing, and then the subsequent shot is the guy with the family, and he looks over and he like is shocked that he bowed, and then he's like, "All right, let's get to work." Right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
How many times have you seen the movie?
So many times.
Ballpark. 10, 20, 30?
Man, it's got to be like over 20 by now.
Okay.
Because I've seen it in Japan 7 times.
Good.
So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Good. Well, at least... Well, that just means like we're kind of on the same page, or maybe you're more in sync. I think maybe. I've seen it probably 17-ish times. But, so you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
So what's with that weird pause?
I don't know. I think... and Anno actually said something in the behind-the-scenes footage that kind of struck me, and this might tie in to that speech, was when Godzilla is ultimately frozen in the end, spoilers, the team kind of watch the monitor and kind of quietly go,
yeah,
and Anno specifically said to them, "Do not clap because people died. So you shouldn't be clapping for all of the people who died. Like, you should kind of have a moment of silence for the people that you lost, even though it was a victory or something like that." And I feel like that might be a little similar in that kind of way. That's what Anno tried to portray.
Oh, is
right?
That
there was a sense of loss, and they needed to have a time to kind of mourn for the people who they lost. It's just a moment of silence, I guess.
Interesting.
So I don't know what the exact intent was, but hearing that bit with the ending, where Anna wanted everyone to be silent, I feel like it's kind of like a connective tissue to that scene.
Similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that there was a guy bowing on the right?
I did.
And then cutting over to the guy, I don't know his name. Basically,
I don't know his name, but yes, I did notice.
And then he was like looking over, as well as some other character over here, and there was like, oh, he's bowing. He's like really agreeing with Higuchi, and then he goes.
Yeah, I did notice.
Like, what's up with so from an American perspective, I saw it as, oh, everybody doesn't really like Yaguchi or agree with Yaguchi, but Yaguchi is saying, but they're kind of reluctant to continue, and then that guy bowed, so he kind of led by example to like join Yaguchi again. Man, but that doesn't make that much sense narratively, and so that's why I'm asking you.
It's hard to answer the question because even me, I'm not too well accustomed to Japanese culture.
Got it.
But I don't know what that means, but I think it might be that different people, I guess, maybe show respect in a different way towards Yaguchi and maybe towards the Prime Minister who died and all the cabinet members who died. So I think it could be a thing of different people showing different ways of how they mourn or how they respect the dead and also the future, perhaps. I don't really know what the specific of that scene means, because even for me it was a little like, that's a little strange moment, but sure.
Yeah. There were a couple. Another moment was when Yaguchi gave the speech in front of all the volunteer military people. There was also another awkward pause, I felt, after. It was like, I was like, because in American movies, Independence Day,
like,
think of Pacific Rim. That's what you kind of think of as like the rallying speech.
Yeah.
Which was totally different than Shin Godzilla. It was kind of like, it just fell flat. He finished his speech and no one's clapping, no one's cheering, no one's hollering. There's no music.
Right. It's just quiet.
It's just quiet. Like, from an American perspective, it's just like, that's awkward. Yeah. What's going on?
And it's like the sound of the helicopter in the background. All right.
So, like, what do you...
I think that's just...
Do you have any insight to that?
That could be the Japanese people, I think. And I tend to notice that, too. And even at, like, the movie theater, for example, Japanese people don't tend to...
Clap for the movie.
Clap for movies. They don't seem to also laugh. They kind of quiet.
Even at a comedy?
Even in comedies, they kind of like snicker quietly so that they don't like be disrespectful to the other people who are watching the movie. So
makes sense.
It kind of seems like a similar thing, but on a grander scale, of that this is how the people kind of show their respect to the person talking, but also taking in the seriousness of people might die in this operation or in this strategy, and I think that is just Anno showing how the Japanese spirit works.
Right.
Because I think that's what it was saying, but I'm not entirely sure what it was saying, but I believe that's what it meant in the film.
Right. Yeah, I mean... So, like, what was your interaction level with Anno?
It wasn't much, because I was just a regular PA, so it wasn't too much. But I did interact with him a couple times.
Did you shake his hand?
I did later. Metaphorically, I bowed to him because I know that he hates human contact.
So like, is that a Japanese thing? Oh, no, I mean, like, in Japan, did you shake other people's hands, or is shaking hands just not a thing?
I did out of habit, but it wasn't. But I was met with always like a pause before they shook my hand. So it was a very like. But they also kind of in their heads went, "Oh right, he's an American, right?" And then shook my hand.
Oh yeah.
And there was that pause of right, he's a foreigner, and then shook my hand.
Oh yeah.
So but for Anno, I tried to not be like that.
Right.
And it was also the fear of like he's a man I respect. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But there was a really awkward moment, not for him, but for me specifically. I was wearing an Evangelion T-shirt at Toho Studios, and one of the guys in the office was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Anno is doing like a meeting right now with the other guys about the story. Like
what story?
Do you want to sit in the Shin Godzilla story?"
Oh, okay.
And they were planning on like how Godzilla was going to move, how he was going to breathe his ray, and on that day I saw that from his back he shoots the photon rays, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? But they were having that meeting, and they were like, oh Yoko, you wanna sit in and watch? And I was like, yeah. But then I looked down, and I was wearing an Evangelion 2.0 shirt, and I was like, oh no, this is so embarrassing.
Right.
So I sat in the meeting with my
like
arms crossed, trying to hide the fact that I'm like a fanboy.
Yeah.
It was so embarrassing.
I mean, yeah, it would be kind of weird.
It's a little weird to meet like your hero and you're wearing the T-shirt of that hero's creation.
Right. I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't overthink it.
No, he wouldn't overthink it.
But like, yeah, even
it's
if I was
mostly
in
me.
your shoes, even if I was in your shoes, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Luckily, I actually don't own any Ava shirts.
I have a lot of them.
You have Ava shirts, yeah.
And then after that, I gave him his lunch several times. He's a very specific man too. He has like his own set lunch.
Right, he's a vegetarian, right?
Right. It's so hard to categorize him as a vegetarian because he also hates vegetables.
What does he eat?
He doesn't like onions. He doesn't like other vegetables. There was a lot of things that he couldn't eat.
How did he get so big eating?
I have no idea, but he eats just like...
How tall is he?
He's, like 6.
Because people say he's tall, but then I can't tell.
He is tall. He's taller than I am, and I'm like 5'9"-ish. He's like around 6 footer.
6 feet?
6 foot or maybe like 6'1".
Got it. Yeah. That's pretty tall.
He's pretty tall. Like it's surprising how tall he was. I never knew he was that tall.
He doesn't look that tall.
He seems like an average height person, but then you meet him in person, it's like, oh wow, you're actually kind of
tall.
tall.
Oh shit.
Okay, you're a tall man for a Japanese guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he eats like very specific things. Like even like he won't eat a lot of stuff, so he needs to have his lunch like prepared in like another separate bag, so that they know like this is Anno's bag. So I was like, at some points we were shooting outdoors. There's that bit in where Godzilla makes landfall as his final form, his fourth form, and there's that shot of the pedestrians like leaving as his like feet are like kind of slowly approaching the shore.
Oh, okay, yeah. He's in the distance.
Yeah, he's in the distance. I was there for that shoot, and Anno was, of course, there for that shoot, and I had to hand...
That was an external shoot at the location.
Mm-hmm. And then I was in charge of giving all the extras and the crew, like, their lunch.
Right.
So I had, like, stacks and stacks of lunch boxes that they had ready, and I'd, like, hand them out, and there'd be, like, different options. Like, do you want, like, a shrimp dumpling thing? Do you want, like, a pork whatever thing? And I'd say, like, here are these options, and I just hand them out. And then when I was instructed, when Anno comes, give him the lunch in this bag, because it's specific to Anno. He won't eat the other ones in the other boxes. So I had to do that for a couple of times. I gave him his very Anno-tailored lunch.
Right, nice.
A couple times, and I went home and I cried. Like, I was so in shock. Like, I gave my hero... that was insane. And then insane. The most nerve-wracking one was, again, it's that shot in the film where it's the military base and then the tent like falls on them and they're like, evacuate, retreat. And they were setting up the rig so that the tent will fall practically and not like hurt the other actors on set. And then it was done, and Anno's assistant turns to me and goes like, oh, are you doing anything right now? I'm like, oh no, I'm free, I can do anything. And she said, can you go up to his office and wake him up?
Anno?
Yeah, and I was like, I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
And they said, oh yeah, he's in his office right there. If you can just like knock on the door and wake him up. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
So I go to one of the buildings in Toho Studios, and then I knock on the door, and one of the producers says like, come in, and it's me, and so there was a desk on the right hand side of the room, and one more on the back. And the producer was on the back side of the room, and Anno was on the right, and Anno was just asleep with his head back, with hands on the table like this, and he was asleep, and I had to wake him up, and he woke up so quickly.
Really?
Yeah. And he was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then just like walked out. And then it was a good solid minute and a half of me and Anno.
Oh my god!
Like, walking back to the studio like area, and then he turns to me and goes, I hope it's over soon.
What?
I was like, oh my god, what is happening?
Wait, forget that part. You're walking with Anno for a minute and a half.
And it was only us two.
Next to each other.
Yeah. I was a little behind, but I was like, it was like that.
Why you were like nervous to walk next to him?
I was like, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah.
It's like, and also, my Japanese isn't like perfect, so I was like, what do I say? Because
right.
I don't want to sound like an idiot. Like, if it's in English, then like it's fine. Like, I'd be like, how are you doing or whatever. But like, I don't know how to approach someone in Japanese in that sense.
Right.
So I was so nervous.
In that context, I mean, between all the factors, right, between the language and he's Hideaki Anno.
He's Anno.
So yeah, I mean.
That was crazy. And then I encountered him again for another thing. It was 2 more times. He was using me and several of the other crew members as like body doubles for the shot.
Oh, okay.
So he'd take pictures of like, we'd be the stand-ins, and he'd take like shots of us, and he'd later on use it in the film. And I was
he'd
like,
use it in the film.
Yeah. He used like those shots, like that exact shot in the film, yeah. And then I had to say some lines in English, like I had to be like those American dudes who were like, "It's a phased array radar." Like I had to say that.
Oh, you were doing that line?
Over and over again, and he had to like take the picture of me saying it and like trying to angle the shot to kind of be ready for the actual shoot.
Right.
So I had to do that for him for a couple hours or so, on and off, and then.
Wait a second. Yeah. This thing is 1 hour limit, so we'll come back and we'll talk about that other time. And we're back, and last time you were talking about that you met Anno. What was the last example that you gave before we go to the very last example?
Yeah, I had to be like his stand-in for one of the American.
Oh yeah, so I want to talk more about that, but I saw the time limit thing, so I was like, whatever. But anyway, so that one, I know exactly the scene. It was just as I thought. Godzilla has a built-in phased array radar.
Apparently, that line went through a couple alterations, and I didn't say like built-in. I just said like he had a phased array radar because like I didn't know what to say. But I guess they got somebody who like translated the line perfectly.
There was that YouTuber.
Yes.
What was her name again?
Charla.
Charlotte. There it is.
Surprisingly, I've never met her.
Oh yeah,
which is strange. I should have crossed paths, and apparently she was at the rap party, and I was also at the rap party.
When was the rap party?
That was in.
I mean, I guess that's production rap, right?
Yeah, that was in December. So they had 2 rap parties, and I was in both of them.
December 2015.
November 2015. Because I came back I came back home on December 1st. So it must have been like in November. So it was in November 2015, and they had the production wrap. And then in right before the movie's release, like in July of 2016, they had the CG effects wrap.
Right.
But apparently she was in the first production wrap party, and I never crossed paths with her, and I wish I met her, but and I think she translated a lot of it into English. Okay. Most of the dialogue, I think she did.
Did you ever watch some of her stuff on YouTube channel?
No, I've only seen that video, and I think I've commented on that video, and she replied back like, "Oh, cool! Like we were on the same production."
Right. Because I don't know if I was ever subscribed to her, but like she's part of that YouTube. Japanese YouTube foreigner living in Japan community with some other ones like Rachel Jun and stuff like. And so I had seen some of her content, and so I think like maybe it was like the second viewing of Shin Godzilla, and I was like, I saw the credits. And
I saw her name too.
And I was like, oh my god, that's is that? Or maybe it wasn't. Actually, maybe I found out maybe because of her announcement video. So I don't remember. But anyway,
I did
have context of her. I did have context of who she was like years before she said she was on Shin Godzilla, so that's even more mind blowing. But back on the just as I thought.
Just
Was that actor? Because that actor looks so familiar to me.
I don't know who he is. I have no idea who he is.
For the longest time, I thought he was. In Japan, like late at night, they have those English teaching programs.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I thought he was like one of those guys because he looks similar, but I guess. But I think like I've researched it and like it's not.
Nothing. Okay.
So I didn't really find anything.
I have no idea. I've never interacted with most of the Americans. I met like one or two of them, but those were the guys who. It's when all the tanks were destroyed by Godzilla, and he's like, marching forward into Tokyo, and then there's that shot in the base where all the Americans like stand up and leave.
Yeah, the guys in blue.
Yeah, I met like two of those guys.
Right.
And I was like chatting with him, like, oh yeah, I'm from New York. He's like, oh yeah, I'm from. I forget where he was from, but we were chatting for a little bit, and he's just an American dude.
Right.
So I was like, oh cool.
Was he like? Did he live in Japan? Was he flown in from America?
I didn't ask him that question, but I knew that he was like he's from here.
Got it.
Like he's from the States. I'm assuming he lives in Japan. I believe. Cause,
I mean, there should be plenty for them to hire.
Although, and his Japanese was better than mine.
Really?
Which was shocking. I was like, oh
yeah,
wow,
is shocking.
That's amazing.
I mean, because it's half for me because I'm thinking, well, there's bound to be Americans living in Japan, so you might as well get those instead of flying one out from Hollywood.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel like the casting is relatively like strict. They have to have a certain bravado as an American military dude, which I guess is not like rare to get like a short hair, big build kind of white dude. But so
it was interesting to see how they casted all those American actors, and it worked for the most part. It felt believable. Sometimes when they cast American actors or just white actors in general, like sometimes it's a little wonky. Like it feels a little like, oh, you're definitely not American, but you're.
What do you mean?
Like some of the other movies I've seen that are Japanese, like sometimes the white guys in those movies don't have like that like American accent. It's like English, but it's something's a little off about how they
Are they
speak.
white?
Yeah.
Are they American?
I don't know. I have no idea.
So are you saying like they're from Europe or something?
They potentially could be, but in Japanese movies, like they play Americans.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, that does not
weird.
sound like an American person.
I haven't seen a movie in a while. Like I've just been really busy and stuff, but and I haven't seen that many Japanese movies. I guess
there's a couple of them.
Or I think I've seen Japanese movies like old school stuff. So
even in like some of the other Godzilla movies, like some of they're like it's a little wonky.
Oh yeah.
But it was interesting because I had to speak that line over and over again, and I was able to pronounce it. So I was that stand-in for a little bit. And then the last time I saw Anno.
Oh, it was still back on this topic still. Like, we were on, I was on previous podcast.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how they really over-enunciate the English.
They do.
What is that direction? Was that an Anno specific direction, or is that just a general Japanese?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I think that's where it comes in where I don't know if you're American or not. Because it sounds like it's not American English. It feels a little different.
Yeah.
But those that guy, those three guys in like the U.S. embassy, like those
guys that went like this in front of the window.
Those guys seem pretty like all right, especially like at the later half. It's like
so it's too late for
Japan. So it's too late to turn back now.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh okay.
Japan been given a 2-week grace period.
Like
to evacuate remaining citizens.
I think it's because if you don't do that, I know there are subtitles, but it's like I think they completely like it's just lost on them, on the Japanese audience.
Okay.
Like they have no idea what they're saying.
Right.
If they speak like in our speed.
Right.
So even though it's in subtitles, they gotta go like, so it's too late to turn back now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak at a really slow pace. It's like, all right. It's a time-sensitive mission, though. Like, you might want to speak a little faster. But
I guess they have a 2-week grace period.
A 2-week grace period,
to talk about it.
But I think that's specifically like a Japanese thing where they want Americans to like enunciate the word,
I think
and to
so
kind of
too.
be like, well, I speak like this, and I need to really use my mouth to just get every word.
Gotta be clear.
Yeah, it's gotta be really clear.
Yeah.
So that's a little interesting, and I never encountered those guys, so it would be interesting to see like what their direction was on set.
Yeah.
But I have no idea
but
what
even the Just As I Thought Godzilla, it seems like
phased
radar. Like that was very clear.
That was very.
Did you hear
clear.
the direction for that one?
I did. I wasn't there on that day.
I thought you just said you were there for
No, I was the stand-in though.
Yeah.
No, but I wasn't like on set to meet the actor. It was like on a different day where I was the stand-in, and like he took pictures, and then like on
it was
on,
just
like,
for his
day.
pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like stand-in, and then 10 minutes later.
Oh no!
Actor
Sorry.
came in.
Oh no! Sorry.
Roll.
Oh no! Basically, they made like a prop set of that scene in like a studio that was right next door.
Okay.
To that set, and they took pictures just for references.
They made a copy of a set that was just right next door.
They basically put the tables around like in the same way that it was in the actual set.
Okay.
But then we had to like rehearse the scene because Anno wanted to like visualize everything and take reference shots.
From what you're saying, then he doesn't. It's not as if he just draws the storyboard off the dome. He actually goes and like puts the camera there and does it.
Initially, he does. He draws like or it's not. It could be Higuchi actually who draws some of the human storyboards. But then he'll take those storyboards and do like a picture reference of it and then film it.
Got it.
But it's not for all of the scenes, but it is for some of the major scenes where there's like a lot of people, and when there's a lot of people, I think he needs some more of a clear idea of like what it's really going to look like with like the shadows and how like a camera bounces off a light, and like is he in focus, is she in focus, that kind of thing. So he was very cautious about kind of knowing how the camera works and working with all the actors. And for the rehearsal, like it was all us and the crew were playing the characters basically.
Right. So for rehearsal, what you're saying is that there's none of the cast are there.
None of the cast was there. It was just me and like some of the line producers and some of the other guys in charge. And
basically, he got the crew to
like
stand in so he could block his composition.
Basically, yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and then what's so weird is it ended up being different in the final film. So I was like, okay, that's strange. Like
maybe he got maybe 100.
Yeah, I think he must have had a different vision at some point. But it was interesting to see him work kind of directing us non-actors to kind of do what the actors are supposed to do.
Right.
So that was kind of an interesting thing that I didn't know that directors did.
So Anno was there.
Yeah, he was
doing that. Like, why didn't he just bring in the actors? Is it just because like it's below their pay grade and it's too expensive to bring them in? But aren't they like salaried anyway?
They're already there, so I have no idea.
Like they can't be doing something else because Anno's over here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's not like the actors are like.
That's a good question. I think
that's so bizarre.
I think it could be that he didn't want to bother the actors for so much blocking.
Such a trivial thing.
Yeah,
like, relatively trivial.
And it was so much like moving around. Like they moved us around like so many different times, like different like options of maybe I would stand here, and then I was like no, maybe stand over here. So they were doing that like all day.
They were doing some crazy. They did some crazy compositions for that.
They did, yeah, they really did.
That opening meeting scene.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the blocking was like. It's not straightforward. It's not just like, okay, there's a row and this guy's talking. Mm-hmm. Some of them were like that, right? Where it's like, these guys were blurred and Yaguchi's there, and so you see Yaguchi as the focal point. But there are these ones that are like, just like very asymmetrical.
Yeah.
What's the word? Basically just asymmetrical compositions and just weird.
Yeah, and I think he likes 3 people's heads in a shot.
Oh yeah?
Like, he does that a lot. It's like, the guy in the middle of the 3 heads will be talking, and then there'll be a guy in the forefront in the background, and the guy directly in the middle will be talking, or it's the other way around. Like, he likes doing that a lot in Shin Godzilla specifically. But it was interesting to see him go from like what me and the crew did during the rehearsal and then the actual film, because it was kind of different. It was a little different from what I expected the scene would be. Like there were some like dry erase boards in our rehearsal thing, and we had to like write stuff down, like pretend to. And and that line where it's like that'll mark the end of the human race. And that was not initially. It was not them leaving the room.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, so that's kind of like a walking out dialogue thing in the movie. Okay. That was supposed to be like them kind of in the back of the room, like watching over everyone and kind of like secretly talking amongst themselves, like quietly.
Oh yeah.
Like that'll mark the end of the human race, kind of like quietly.
And then what about the line after, like before
it was
that happens?
Before that happens, using your nuclear wisdom.
It's the only road to salvation for mankind. Was that also like
that was
right
also,
after?
That was it wasn't that exact line because I had to. I didn't have the English script at that point, so I had to just kind of come up with like a mock line.
Okay.
To kind of throw because it's rehearsal.
Right.
The lines don't really matter. It's like the timing of what people say. So I said like some variation of it, but I didn't know it was going to be that specific line. Nuclear wisdom was an interesting choice of words.
Nuclear wisdom and road to salvation.
Road to salvation
is also bizarre. Both of them are equally
it's a little
bizarre.
Yeah. I remember that got a laugh in the American theater a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
it's unfortunate.
They laughed instantly once he said nuclear wisdom.
Oh yeah.
It's like
I mean, I can think of like the translation, right? Like basically the word, and so I get it, but it's just them being adamant about the specific. I get it. Like it's the romance of the word wisdom.
Yeah.
It's like knowledge, wisdom, fruit of wisdom, kind of Anno craziness.
And also like I can't fault them for not having perfect English because it's not an English film. It's made in a country that does not speak the language. So even though it is kind of laughable if you're American, like you can't really fault it for not understanding our language because it's not their language.
Right.
So it's a little odd as an American, but I think as a Japanese person, the subtitle I'm sure is like good.
They probably enjoyed it because they said wisdom and road to salvation because they think it's cool.
It's like shit, like it's the nuclear wisdom. Wow, he's really the fruit is angel confirmed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that's an interesting scene that they were kind of playing around with.
Right. Okay, cool. So now we can move on to the third.
Oh yeah, the last. That was way after the film came out, and that was this is last year actually. They had the Shin Godzilla versus Evangelion concert in Tokyo. That was like in March, and I went back to go to it, and lo and behold, some of the crew members from Shin Godzilla were in the audience, and
oh, really?
Well,
what's his name? The First You Relax dude was hosting it.
Yeah, he was hosting
as well as the Rei voice actor.
Yeah, and he invited me to the after party, and then I met the voice actress of Rei. That was really cool, and it was kind of hard for me not to laugh as I spoke to her because I only heard Rei.
Oh yeah,
because it's like a kinder version. It's like imagine.
What does she sound like?
She sounds like.
Rei isn't like her normal voice is lower than Rei, right? Because I imagine she like lifts her voice for Rei.
She does, but every now and again, like that kind of like that like specific like
tonality.
Yeah, like it kind of comes out every now and again. I guess she kind of sounds like if Yui's voice wasn't as high, because Yui's more expressive than Rei is, because Rei is kind of stone cold for the most part, but she is very kind of bubbly, kind of very happy and energetic, and the first thing she said to me was, so the guy who throws the bottle at Yaguchi, he introduced me to the Rei voice actress has this guy worked on Shin Godzilla and he's a big Godzilla and Evangelion fan,
right.
And like her eyes like lit up, and she said, I'm sorry that I'm not Rei today because I'm a little drunk.
Okay.
So I was like, oh no, we're totally fine.
Right.
And she had like a glass of wine, and we were just chatting about like Evangelion, and she asked me some stuff about like English translations, and we talked about stuff like Rei's dialogue about her like I'm not gonna let you die because I'm gonna protect you. that line from Evangelion. Yeah, and we had a quite a long discussion about how that line is a little different in English than it is in Japanese, like the meaning of that word. And it was a nice long chat, and then at some point that guy who Matsuo he is like, oh yeah, you want to meet Anno? I'm like, crap, okay.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh no, okay. It's like, okay, well, so.
Wait, why does he think you never met Anno?
He does know that I've met him, but
like more tightly,
like more of like a having a conversation kind of thing, and I was like, okay, he probably, so in my mind, like my mind was racing, and I was like, okay, hold on, so Anno probably doesn't remember me. Right. There's so many people on set. Like I'm probably.
How many people are on set?
A lot of people. Like
100 people.
I would say about 100 or 150, because like in the A unit there's like the actors and the crew. And like B unit has like our effects people. So there's like so many people that he has to say like hi to. So I'm definitely not like mixed in the mirage of people.
Right.
So in my mind I'm like, all right, he definitely doesn't remember me.
Right.
Of course, like
why
he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And of course, he didn't.
Oh, yeah? Oh, no, damn, I thought the story was going to be like,
no.
You meet him, he's like, yo, Yoko, what's up?
Sadly, he didn't. But when Matsuo told him that I worked on Shin Godzilla, his demeanor was turned from extremely shy to just kind of shy. Like, it was a little more like, oh, okay, so you worked on the film, so you're not like some random person like at this after party.
At this after party.
Yeah.
Because there are random people at after party?
It's just like some of the friends of the people there, and I know Anno hates being around people.
Does he?
He doesn't like to be around people, and he wasn't there for the first rap party. He chose not to be there because he doesn't like.
It's a production rap party.
Yeah, the production rap party. He doesn't like to be around people. So
that's so sad.
much like Shinji. So it was kind of interesting to see him, and his wife was there too.
Right.
Moyoko. So he reintroduces me to Anno, and then like he says like, oh yeah, he worked on Shin Godzilla in the production team and whatever, and I told Anno, thank you for inspiring me, because without Evangelion I probably didn't choose to be a filmmaker, so I want to thank you. And he looked super shy, and then he said like, oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Because it's a hard industry. I'm like, yeah, I understand. But it's a very Anno thing to say, like kind of like
very humble, very like self-deprecating.
Yeah, it is a little self-deprecating of like, oh no, he watched my work and wanted to be a filmmaker, but
right.
I hope he knows that this isn't like a kind industry. So it's like, but that answer I appreciate so much, because I feel like that's the most Anno thing he could ever say. Like
that's so bad though, honestly. Like that's so pessimistic.
No, but it's like I understand. Like
I understand, but like
I'm so used to the whole thing of like, you know, because we live in America. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, like you know what, like good for you, and keep following your dreams or that kind of thing. Like, I'm so used to that response. Yeah. So to kind of hear that response, kind of like, I guess, brought me back to earth a little bit. Of like,
okay.
Oh yeah, this is, you know what, it is a hard road ahead of me, and like him saying that to me actually felt more honest than any other person.
Right.
Because it's usually like, oh yeah, like you can do it. It's like, but you don't know that I can do it. And I'm like, that's up to me.
Well, I wasn't thinking like you could do it, but I was thinking more like normal response would be like, oh yeah, no, oh yeah, that's great, or something like that. Oh, you're welcome, or something like that. No. Not like you can do it. Not encourage. I don't know.
Like, oh, I'm sorry.
But definitely not like, oh, I'm sorry. I brought you down into this sad world hell of filmmaking.
That was just, and it was so hard to keep my body from not shaking. I was just like, my muscles were so tense. I was holding on to every muscle in my body so I wouldn't like shake in front of him.
So what was he wearing?
He was wearing a suit. He was wearing a full suit because after the Shin Godzilla concert ended, and that was the second day, so it's the last day of the concert. The two cast members gave him like a flower, and we all kind of clapped, and the concert was over. And then me and some of the Shin Godzilla people were kind of at like this Japanese restaurant, and at some point Matsuo calls them and like, oh, we're at this after party. Do you want to come by? And we're like, oh yeah, sure. Like, we're nearby. Like, we can go. So we went to the after party, and I guess the people at the after party came directly after the concert. So they were still in like suits and dresses and that kind of thing. So the voice actress of Rei was still in that purple.
What's her name again? Is it Megumi Hayashibara?
Yes, it is. It is Megumi. Like I keep forgetting that Shinji and Rei have the same. It's Megumi.
Yeah, I keep confusing those two for some reason. So
it's both Megumis, right?
Okay.
And I also met the singer of A Cruel Angel Thesis.
Oh, well. Wow! So she was at the after party?
She was at the after party.
Was she at the concert?
Yeah, she was.
She was performing at the concert?
She was singing Who Will Know?
Really?
And also she was singing, of course, the theme song for Evangelion. And she was there. And I got a picture with
I didn't realize it was her.
Yeah, she was apparently there, and I was like, oh my god, that's her. And then at the after party, I went, oh my god, that's her.
Really?
Yeah. So
does she sound like
she just sounds like a normal person. Like,
yeah.
I would have never guessed. Like I think if I didn't know what she looked like, I would have never guessed.
No, I don't know.
This is the person. So. She's very sweet. Very, very sweet.
Did she sing Cool Note in whatever? Did she sing Cool Note in the soundtrack?
I don't know. She might have. I'm not entirely sure.
It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess no, just statistically.
Yeah,
probably just found a random. Well, not random, but like a choir singer or opera singer instead of specifically the Cruel Angels Thesis singer.
Yeah.
But she sang at the concert, so who knows?
She sang at the concert, so I don't know. But I don't think in the movie version it's her. But yeah, she sang the song at the concert, and she also sang a Japanese version of Who Will Know, because lyrics were in English, and then so they had like a Japanese version of the song
at the concert.
At the concert that they played again. She sang. And then at the end of the concert, they sang A Cruel Angel Thesis. And then they merged that with the Godzilla theme song. Mm-hmm. So then she was at the after party with Anno and all those people. So that was a great moment in my life where I met like Anno and then the voice actress of Rei and then the singer from the opening. The opening song. I thought, wow, this can't get any better than this.
Right.
It was just incredible. Like everyone was just so humbling and so nice, especially the voice actress of Rei. She's just. She kept talking with me, and it was so nice to just like chat with her,
right?
And like the nuances of the English language and the Japanese language, and how the meanings of Evangelion might be different to an American audience and that kind of thing. So it was cool to be around her.
She didn't have a role in Shin Godzilla, right?
No, I don't believe so.
Because she has like a lot of insert roles in Anno's other work.
Yeah, I don't believe unless like
she was in Giant God Warrior. Mm-hmm. She was in Shigijitsu, which I know you didn't watch, but like Anno seems to like just insert her randomly.
She could have maybe had like a voiceover cameo. Like
I'll
never know. Apparently Miyazaki's in Shin Godzilla.
No, really?
Apparently, that's
what as an extra.
As like something like he's like apparently in like one shot. I've heard like I don't even know if that's true, but apparently it's true. Like I don't know.
I heard somehow on the internet Anno was a extra.
Anno is the bus driver in the.
I can't make him out though.
Oh really?
I don't see him as Anno. He doesn't look that Anno.
If you look in the behind the scenes footage,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I think that's a different shot.
It could be a different guy.
It feels like a different shot. It feels like he just got in the bus driver's seat for that one iPhone thing rather than he was in the movie.
It's so strange how he's wearing the cap as he's like filming it. Like I have no idea why, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a crazy day.
You were there. You saw Shinji Higuchi as an extra, right? Did you see Shinji Higuchi's cameo?
Oh shit.
That's relatively more like decipherable. Like I could see. Oh, that is Shinji, without really thinking about it either.
At what point in the movie?
It's that crazy scene.
Oh, is that crazy scene?
I think it's when the camera falls into the ground and he's like, "Let's go, let's go."
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because it also sounds like him.
Oh, that shit. That could be him. Oh shit.
I think it's him.
I gotta go back and see.
I've never talked to anybody else about this nor searched it up, but I think that's him.
I gotta go back and see.
The bus driver thing, I don't. If that is Anno, he's very obscure because he's shot from the back,
and it's like. full shadow, like silhouette, like you can't really tell.
So you can't really tell anyway. But I think like the behind the scenes thing doesn't point to it. I think that's like a totally separate thing.
Right.
Is my perspective on it. But
I remember that day very vividly. It was very tough.
Yeah, what was that like?
They had to. I was in charge of blocking the road.
Well, like, how does that happen? You pay the government for a permit to get that block.
I think so.
It was like 7 blocks or something.
Yeah, that's a long stretch of road.
Was that Kamada?
Yeah.
It was
Kamata, yeah. And it was just, there's so many extras, and then I had to like handle the civilians, and they'd all like poke their heads out and be like, what the hell's going on? And I have to say like, oh, it's for a movie. And they'll ask like, what movie? Well, I can't tell you.
Oh yeah?
Because it was like a secret at that point, but everyone knew that it was Godzilla.
Just because like people running?
I think there was like a rumor going around that like they're going to film like the new Godzilla movie like in this part of the neighborhood. So a lot of the people who lived in the area was like, oh yeah, this is Godzilla, I know it is. And then they'd walk away. I'm like, oh shit.
Don't care.
Yeah. And even the kids were like, oh, this is Godzilla, right? Yeah, it's Godzilla. I'm like, walked away.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, okay, I guess people know what this is.
Or people have things to do.
Yeah, but legally I was not allowed to tell them what the movie was about.
Right.
So I had to be like, well, it's a secret movie, but it is a movie. So if you can please not cross this road, because we have a stunt car coming in, and people are running and screaming and whatever. So like please don't, for the love of God, please don't cross. But you get a couple of assholes every now and again who are like, why are you filming? It's like, but
what do you mean why?
Well, what do you mean why? Like we're filming. And then I lost my temper and I screamed at one of the guys in English at one point.
Oh yeah.
That like New York rage just like came out of me.
Oh yeah.
It was just I should have not done that, but it was still like it was that.
What do you do?
I just screamed like, you like fuck you fucking fuck, like shut the fuck up, and like I was like making them go away, and the crew members were like Yoko, you can't do that. I'm like, I'm sorry.
You can't do that?
I'm sorry. In Japan, you have to be polite at all times. Like, even if someone's being an asshole to you, you need to have like the composure to kind of be like, well, I'm sorry. You have to. So it's like, but I was never raised in that kind of environment. I was always like, if someone was hostile to me, like I'll be that bad to you.
That's like that's like, especially in New York.
That's a very New York thing.
I feel like California is a little more chill.
Oh, they're very chill.
But New York especially.
Yeah, like if you're an asshole, like you're gonna get fired back.
Right. Like like New York, the New York thing is kind of like there's no, I don't want to say there's no sense of professionalism, but like the Japanese sense of professionalism, if you take that as the,
standard.
You're a cop, so you do your thing. Someone's rude to you, you still have to be a cop and whatever. You're a waiter, you have to serve the food. They're being a dick, you still have to serve the food, right? Here it's like, dude, you're a waiter, but come on, man, you're not equal to a waiter. Like you are Yoko Higuchi, you are Chester Law. You're not waiter. You're working as a waiter.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a very different mentality. So it's weird,
So they ran up to me and they were like, "Yo, you can't do that."
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I couldn't control my anger. Right. So I'm sorry.
I feel like at an American set, right? At an American set, they blocked off New York and someone was being a dick. And a PA just shouted at them.
It's like
they'd be like, and another PA just be like, "Oh yeah, those dicks. That was right."
Right, like it's a Tuesday.
Yeah,
it's like it's fine. But apparently, the thing about Japan, I told my mom what happened on that day, and she said, "Oh yeah, the reason why you can't do that is because sometimes those people will like go back and like." Report against the companies. They're like, oh, he was an asshole to me or something. It's like, oh, I get it. That's why you're not allowed to be like a dick if you're like an employee at a company, because that person could potentially call the company and say like, this person was mean to me on the street, and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then they have to it's like a lot of commotion that they have to get through. So I don't know, like the culture is so different from here that it was a little hard to adjust in like the first couple of months.
Okay.
And that scene was shot like early September.
Okay.
So I was still like kind of adjusting to that environment, but man, there were a lot of people who were really testing my patience on that day. Like they kept asking like, what are you filming? Why are you filming? what do we do? It's like, you just walk that way. But if we cross the street, like, don't cross the street. If you cross the street, you'll get hit by that stunt car. It's like, but what if I have to go to work? Then please go around, sir. Like, just the dumbest questions you get from people was just, it was infuriating. But in the end, it wasn't too bad. But I was standing for a long time. It was a giant crowd.
Like, ginormous. Was there any CGI replicating people, or was that legit?
Oh, no. The only thing that was CG was...
Godzilla.
Yeah, the second form, like just crawling his way toward. That's the only thing that was CG. Like, all the cars were actually like parked there, and there's a cut scene in the movie where there's a cab driver who like swerves in the road. People have to like dodge away from it. Yeah, and then
how did they film that?
Oh, they just did it.
Yeah, that looks super dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know how they got away with it, but it's just like he's a professional like driver, and they just like did it like on the road.
What about the extras?
They had to. They were just like, ugh.
Were they pros or were they just randoms?
I don't think so. I think they were.
Just randoms that
I think they were just like volunteer people, and also all the extras were not paid, so that was something. Oh. That's how they cut down budget. The extras are all volunteer.
They did a pretty good job considering they're non-paid.
And also, the payoff is if you become an extra in the film, you get like a little goodie thing. Oh. So my mom is actually an extra in the film.
Oh.
Yeah. I couldn't find her, but she's in the film, and then like she met Shin Higuchi, and she got like little Godzilla tote bag.
Nice.
And some of the other people got like some like a folder, like a little Godzilla folder, or like a bottle,
right?
Like a Godzilla bottle. So they didn't pay the actors, but like you got like a souvenir at the end of it. So
it's worth their time.
It's worth their time, yeah. Like especially if you're like a collector. Yeah. If you want this kind of stuff, like this is the best way to get them. Is like just be like, hey, I want to run around screaming like, oh no, it's a giant monster behind me.
At some point, there's no other way to get that if it's a limited edition one where it's like only extras only.
Only if the extra ends up selling it on eBay or something.
Yeah,
that's the only way you can get it. And
yeah.
So that was interesting how they cut down cost of like not paying extras and that kind of thing. So
interesting.
It was interesting. Yeah.
What about like the scene where they had a lot of extras running down the subway?
Oh yeah, that was just like they actually just did.
Were you there?
No, I was not there, but I saw one of my coworkers who was there like took a video of it, and I was like watching it on his phone. I was like, what the? And that looked real. Yeah. Especially because it was on his camera phone, and it was all these people like running down the staircase and like going into the subway station. I thought that looked really real, but they just actually just closed that station and just did that.
Right.
So that was just.
Well, I assume that was like past midnight. They shot that.
It was late it was late in the day. It was pretty late. It was around the same time. It's that scene where.
But not past midnight.
It might have been. I'm not sure.
Because the subway closes at past midnight.
They do.
They might as well shoot after midnight so they're not interrupting.
I think what they did was they closed it like an hour or two earlier.
Oh.
So it's not like too late in the night.
Okay.
But there were a lot of night shoots where it was kind of it was a little hard to get through. One of them was, it's the scene right before that with all the cars are like stuck in traffic and the people are running away, and then it cuts to all the people like going down in the subway station.
Right.
That shot took like all day to set up, like getting all those cars on that road and turning on their lights and all those people like running away. Like that took.
Why did that take so long?
I have no idea. It just took all day.
Did you just park the cars there and turn the lights on and then have people run away?
Like I had to stay overnight on that shoot. I remember like we all went to a hotel and like stayed overnight.
Where was it?
It was far away. It was really far away.
It was not in Tokyo?
It was in the Tokyo area, but it was like a good drive away from like Shinjuku or Shibuya. It was like a quite a drive, like maybe like an hour. I mean,
if you did see Yaguchi go down the subway station, right, in that movie. So if you look at the sign of what subway station is, I guess it would be there for realism. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is that Yaguchi next to the subway station, that's like they built that on set. There's not a on set thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff like
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the tank one, the kind of like GoPro looking shot.
I saw that.
Where it's like they rebuilt that set. Actually, when I watched that, I was like, oh, they got a real tank.
Yeah, they shot that like right outside the studio, and I was actually inside it.
It looked like a super ghetto, like a little.
It was like a
L-shaped box.
Yeah, and then like they go up inside it and they stand up and
fire,
and they just like get the shot. I'm like, all right, that's one way to do it. That's a cheap way to accomplish a shot, I guess. But that was interesting also, and I didn't know what that was for until someone told me like, oh yeah, that's the inside of a tank. I'm like, okay. Yeah, because on set it's kind of hard to tell. It's just like there's this thing outside a studio that's like a small dome kind of thing.
Right.
And from the outside, it's like, what is this thing?
I mean, apparently they brought in like a somewhat celebrity to do that.
Apparently,
that guy's not just a random.
Yeah, that's somebody that is a relatively famous. Apparently, I don't watch a lot of like modern Japanese movies. So same for you too. So apparently, like a lot of the people like who have like a line in the movie are like famous people.
Right.
Like, wow.
Like that reporter that was talking about the GDP and GNP.
Oh, yeah, apparently he's like a well-known
person,
right?
Yeah, I know. Because when I watched the movie, I basically didn't recognize anybody except the recurring Anno people, like the Ogashira.
Right.
And I think Ishihara Satomi is too famous also.
She's.
I actually don't think I watched any works of her before.
I've seen the Higuchi Attack on Titan movies because as I was in Japan, those movies were also playing in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just watching them as I was like, I'm like, okay, bye guys, and I go to the movie theater and watch it, and I'm like, oh shit, like these guys are in the movie also.
Right.
So that was kind of cool to see.
You know, Rando Yakushi's character was in. Was he in Attack on Titan?
Yeah, he is. It's him
and Matsuo, or what's his name? The
guy with
the water
bottle. Yeah, he's also in it, and Jun Kunimura, I think is his name. He's the guy who's always in the military outfit in the war room.
Oh,
like a little older gentleman.
Got it. He's also in the other Godzilla movie.
He's in Godzilla Final Wars, I think.
Right.
But he's also in Attack on Titan as well. So,
okay.
That's another. And also, the dude who, after the military tent collapses, the young soldier's like, I'm sorry we failed. And he's like, well,
just evacuation is not our only.
Yeah, something like that.
General guy.
Yeah, he's also in Attack on Titan.
So that's like the clash of like the Higuchi cast
and the Anno cast. Yeah.
So the Anno cast, I don't know who you caught other than Ogashira, who's in Cutie. You saw Cutie Henry?
Yes, I
have. There was also Uehara from Love and Pop. Did you catch that?
Oh shit.
Yeah. No, he.
Oh, oops. Sorry. At what point is
Uehara? You know who Uehara is in Love and Pop?
Is he? Crap.
Spoilers for Love and Pop, by the way.
Yeah.
But, no, he's the guy that. Well, I'll try to do light spoilers, but he's the guy that brought the main character to the DVD store.
Yeah.
That guy was in Shin Godzilla. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't catch that.
He's the guy that's like. He was in the government room in the beginning. He's basically only in the first act.
Oh wait. Okay.
You know.
I'm picturing his face. Yeah.
He's the one that Ogashira. He's like. Sneers at Ogashira for like dismissing his
he's the guy
theory.
And he's like it could be like a magma thing and the other person next to him is like no it can't because the Tokyo Bay is like not this level.
I think he's like it could be a submarine and then the other person was like it's not the thing and then he was like no, we've consulted with our physiologist, and coming on land is absolutely impossible. And then, and she's like, nope. I don't know what she says. I have bad subs.
It's like it's something like it's already supporting its own weight or something.
Yeah.
And then like, and the other guy's like, I'm sorry for his like decorum or something. And then he turns around. And
what does that decorum mean? Is it just like he was too spontaneous in his response? Or?
I think it could be that, like...
But basically... go on, sorry.
No, I think it could be that he was too quick to respond.
Right.
And also, maybe, like, he almost said it as if it was fact.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that must have been it.
Yeah, and then he got, he sneers Ogashira because he got, like, basically dissed by his superior.
Yeah, his superior.
His superior, like, his boss.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Okay, I remember his face now.
Yeah, he's Uehara.
They all look a little different because they're like a little older.
Yeah.
They do look a little different.
But I remember, when I was in the theater, I was like, oh shit, that's Uehara.
Mm-hmm. So. I never noticed until now. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I absolutely love him Pop again. Jesus Christ. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. But yeah, the cast, I think who else is... they brought back some other Godzilla people. Like some of the other Godzilla cast members are also in. So it's like a combination of the Higuchi cast from Titan and the Anno cast who he likes to work with, and some of the other older Godzilla cast members that have like come back. So it was cool to see all these people like work together and kind of cooperate amongst each other. So, yeah.
No, there are some other ones, but they're relatively more minor roles, like repeats from Anno's cast, but not as notable as the Uehara, which I think is like insane, and then the Ogashira Hiromi's character. So,
and I think that actor who Uehara is also in the Higuchi Gamera movies. I think he's in the third one.
I think so, but I've never seen it.
Okay,
have you seen it?
I've seen all of them. Yeah,
I've never seen any of Higuchi's films. I think
I've seen what is Tokyo Sinks.
I couldn't find a copy of that. Is that Higuchi?
That's Higuchi, yeah, and that's also his effects.
I've never seen. I think I can find a copy of it.
Okay, it is a little hard to find a copy of this kind of stuff in the States.
Yeah.
But I saw it in Japan, so I'm not sure.
Where did you buy a DVD?
I just rented a DVD over there.
Got it,
yeah. But he did that movie, and then he did the Titan movies, of course, and then he did the effects for the Gamera movies, and he was a PA on a previous Godzilla film as well, and now he's doing like some new anime movie which is coming out I think this year.
Is he really?
Yeah, it's like about a dragon.
Oh, the Dragon Tentis? No, that makes no sense.
I don't think so. It's like an original piece of work. I don't know what exactly it's called, but it has
under what, under Kara?
No, it's like that's a good question. I have no idea, but it's like some animated thing. But Kara hasn't advertised, so I don't think it's Kara.
So is he? So he's. I mean, obviously he worked with Anno with Nadia and Ava.
In Gainax, yeah.
In Gainax. So he was brought up by Gainax? He was like...
He was one of the founding members of Gainax with Anno, and the other guy that I'm forgetting his name, who's now like the...
Yamaga?
The Otaku King is now...
Yeah.
But yeah, Higuchi was one of the founding members of Gainax, and I think he's not affiliated with Kara specifically. I know he does the storyboards for the rebuilds, but I don't know if he's like specifically tied to Kara.
Right.
As a company, as more of an Anno thing, I think.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Anno is very tied with Kara.
What
would you say like the relationship, like the working relationship between Higuchi and Anno was? Like
they are mostly very friendly, very on point, but as they are two people, so sometimes there are disagreements on set as to what should be like what, but in the end they're still like they work very well together, and it's clear that they're close friends. Like it's super apparent from how they act amongst each other and that kind of thing. So it's a good working relationship what they have on set, and even off set, like they're very friendly and they're kind of like laid back and chill.
So I've always found it strange that Anno was close friends with Higuchi, because I don't generally like Higuchi's work, and then Higuchi I associate with like he was responsible for the island episodes of Nadia.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, I don't think like I'm not like saying like blame him for the island episodes, but like I generally don't have like a positive association with Higuchi. The Attack on Titan movies didn't get good reviews. I watched like 10 minutes. I couldn't really.
They weren't critically. I'm trying to be as polite as
exactly.
Yeah. They were not met with critical
acclaim.
Acclaim. There we go. And as what from what I've heard, there's a lot of production stuff that happened that kind of caused that downfall a little bit. There was a lot of script issues there that Toho was kind of pushing for different stuff, and kind of Shinji Higuchi was kind of forced into doing some stuff that he didn't want to do.
Interesting.
So it was.
Whereas Anno, if he's forced, he's just like fuck you.
Anno's just like because like I'm Anno, I get to do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
But I guess Higuchi doesn't have that title, but he
clout.
could now because he's the co-director of Shin Godzilla. So maybe now he has some more clout and kind of. He can demand.
He was special effects director.
He was mostly special effects. He specialized in that field, for the most part, and his effects work is great. I think like it's one of the last people on Earth who do like that tokusatsu style of like guys in miniature suits and those explosions and the sets and whatnot. So it's a dying art, and I'm happy to see him like preserving all of that together. But it's interesting to see their working relationship, because I know that Higuchi did write some of Evangelion, I believe. Like, not a lot of it, but like parts of it. And then he was one of the co-writers of End of Evangelion, I believe.
I'm sure. Yeah, no. It seems like Higuchi does well when he's working with Anno.
I think that's the best team up. Is that I think they both kind of need each other, where Anno needs like that kind of more human side that Higuchi sports, because Higuchi is personality wise the direct opposite of Anno. Seems
to be
very positive, very outgoing. He loves being around people, and he loves talking to people and being like a generous guy. He's very nice too. But Anno, he's of course a nice guy, but he's very introverted, very quiet. So it's interesting to see how they kind of work, because I think Anno needs Higuchi's energy and Higuchi needs Anno's energy, so that they almost balance each other out a little bit. And I think that's why Shin Godzilla was as good as it is, because of it wasn't just Anno or just Higuchi, it was the both of them like coming together and working together and kind of melding their styles together into one film. So it's curious to see how well they work, but on set it's very apparent that they either agree strongly or disagree strongly.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's like a very like, oh yeah, let's do it, or like a...
So when they agreed, were they like, oh yeah, smiling, happy about it? Or
they were super like into it.
Okay.
Like it wasn't like very smiling or whatever, but it was super like, yeah, let's do it, let's get this done.
Like very serious.
Very, I wouldn't say too serious, because it is Higuchi, he's very kind of chipper, but it's still kind of like okay, so let's get this done, and we'll do it like this, and this, and this, and Anno will be like, alright, so we'll do it like this, and that, and it's like, okay, let's do it, guys, and then, like, they'll do it, and that, that scene where the second form of Godzilla, like, goes to the crowd, and it's the big, crowd scene, they were very, they were very compatible on that day. Like, they were super into their craft, and it was, like, that was a fast day. Like, they went through the entire thing very quickly, and they all, like, pull out their iPhones and, like, start running around the streets and, like, falling and that kind of thing. So that day was one of those days where they really worked together well, and you can see it.
And what was the iPhone thing? Were they trying to get found footage?
Because those scenes were shot on iPhone, I believe. Apparently, yeah.
You mean the ones with the shaky cam, handheld cam?
The shaky cam, yeah.
Okay.
So, I think it was, like, all three of them were filming separate shots. It was Anno, Higuchi, and Onoue, who is the effects director. Okay. And those three were just like holding their phones and like running around the streets and kind of taking all this footage. And they were so like in tune with what was happening. So it seemed as if they were all kind of like hive-minded almost, that they all knew what they were thinking. Yeah. And kind of just went into it. Right. So that was interesting to see, like how they worked together on set.
Right. Mm-hmm. And what was an instance where they like disagreed?
I didn't see it, but I've heard about it. Okay. I wasn't physically there, but I did hear like some scenes where Anno was like, I want it this way, and Higuchi was, no, I want it this way. I don't know how they compromised, but that's what I did hear. Like, I heard rumblings in the studio of like, okay, so they were disagreeing on this day or something like that.
Oh yeah? Yeah. And you didn't see or hear how they resolved it?
I didn't, no. Unfortunately, no.
Okay. I wonder if it was just like, Anno, no. We're doing Anno being like super stubborn.
I think for Higuchi, he might not give him the straight no because of their history, but it might be like a polite no. Like a, here's why it is a no. Like, I'll give you my entire
Anno will explain?
Yeah, I feel like that's what it would be. Okay. In my head, I feel like Anno would be very detailed to Higuchi as to why he wants it this way.
Such a nice guy.
He's a very nice guy.
That sounds like such a nice guy.
He cares a lot about how people respond back, and he never wants to intentionally hurt the other person or demean them in any way. So he's very cautious about giving people direction. But it doesn't make him weak in quotes. It doesn't make him go well, I'm not going to give you the direction because I'm being polite. He really does give direction, even though he's saying it in a polite way. He doesn't hold back in that sense, but he does say it in a very kind manner. But he knows what he wants.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Let's we'll come back and continue. So we were talking about how Anno lets them down softly and his relationship with Higuchi. I wonder if, because we mentioned in the beginning, I asked you what Anno stuff you've watched. Did you watch Karakano?
Not all of it. I have seen it in parts, but I'm not. It's been a while.
Okay.
I don't NGE. I watch a lot, just on my own time. I just see I see the whole show maybe once or twice a year, but Karakano I've seen once, and not in its entirety. Also,
not even in its entirety. You didn't really like it, or?
It's not that I didn't like it. I feel like it was the kind of thing where I realized that it's good, but it didn't click with me.
Okay.
It's one of those things where I acknowledge that I should like it, but there's something about it that doesn't hold a place in my heart. It doesn't latch on to me. Yeah.
Got it.
As much as Love and Pop does, but it's mostly NGE and just Evangelion as a franchise. It is the one that kind of holds me to Anno the most.
I just wonder which projects I should know, but I guess I'm just not enough of a Higuchi fan to know which projects he worked with Anno on. Do you know if Higuchi was on Love and Pop, for instance? I'm gonna go ahead and say no, but I don't know.
I want to say no, but I want to say no, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I guess we can just roll the credits and see. But yeah, I'm curious, because we were talking about if Higuchi brings out the best in Anno, right?
Anno.
So
let's see.
Another interesting thing is this repeating typography that Anno does. It's condensed font.
It's now become iconic to him specifically.
Yeah, because he does it across franchises, not just Eva.
Yeah.
Originally it was an Eva thing, I guess.
I think it began in Evangelion, and then it just kind of went on from there.
Right after Eva was Love and Pop.
Yep, Love and Pop, yep.
And then he kind of brought it into Karakano. The Karakano typography was interesting because it was Karakano Karashi Kanojo no Chicho.
Yeah.
And what he did with the typography there was, this is kind of a more, what in English you would call a serif font.
Yeah.
A very hard, fancy font. Hard edged. You have corners. For Karashi, he put hard corners, and then for Kanojo, he put rounded corners.
Oh, I see.
I thought that was typographically very interesting, but it was still a condensed font. And then for Kara's Happy New Year thing, they also used this condensed font.
Okay.
Which was, it's interesting as another layer of motif. People always mention the telephone lines as an Anno motif.
And trains. Trains is a big one.
Maybe a Doppler effect.
Yeah.
Although other than Ava, I don't know if I've actually heard of Doppler effect.
I don't know about that.
Maybe it's just the tram scenes in Ava then.
I think so.
How many times have you seen Ava?
A lot.
A lot?
I'm now watching it with my girlfriend right now, and she's
like, I don't want to watch it every night, Yoko.
And we're binging it every episode now and again, and she's up to the point where Toji's Ava got beat by the dummies plug system from Shinji's Ava. That's a gruesome episode.
You mean it was her first time watching it?
It's her first time watching it, yeah.
This artist. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there he is.
Wait,
that's...
No, it's just friendship special effects. Oh, you can't read, right?
I can't read.
You can't read. Okay. Masayuki.
Okay.
Masayuki. I think Masayuki is actually really again, like another friendship something director.
So I get.
It seems like almost like a. I mean, I don't know because there's like a cultural context of what friendship means. So like a literal translation would be like friendship. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go ahead and say special effects.
Is that
for Higuchi Shinji?
Is that more of like an honorable
so
mention?
Like I feel like it's almost that honorable mention, like an emeritus thing. Like we grant you this honorary degree. You didn't actually go through our curriculum,
but it's like thank you.
But thank you for coming on set and helping out, and maybe he talked about it, just in off time. But I don't know. But I mean, apparently some participation was there. His name is Visual Water Artist 2 from Masayuki. I think Masayuki is actually like a dark horse of like behind Anno. Was Masayuki on? I think Masayuki was on Shin Godzilla.
Was he in Shin Godzilla?
I'm not sure, but you don't know.
I don't know.
And it's like, have you met? That would be like the kind of question.
No,
is like,
I haven't.
Have you met Masayuki? Because Masayuki. So I have books on Love and Pop. Anno has a picture. Higuchi Shinji has a picture. Kazuya Tsurumaki has a picture.
Okay.
Other people have pictures. Masayuki's the only one that's like...
Jesus.
Nope, no picture. Same with my anime list. Masayuki's the only one with no...
Really?
He's like super... Like
he's like off the grid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I don't even know how he does it. I mean, obviously somebody knows what he looks like. Higuchi must,
Yeah,
but like, unless he wears a mask to work,
He's like Daft Punk. He never takes off the mask.
Yeah.
In like press junkets. That's interesting though. Damn.
Like Masayuki is a freaking dark like. Episode 19, the legendary episode 19 of Evangelion, storyboarded by Masayuki.
Oh wow.
People don't like give him enough credit. I swear.
Damn, I didn't know that he storyboarded that actually.
Yeah. Huh. He's like an unsung hero.
Yeah, a little Jesus.
So. Just wanted to. I mean, even I forgot about him for a while there, but yeah. So I guess.
But I had no idea. He was working on this Higuchi, but again, it could, as you were saying, it could just be like an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Just saying like, hey, like, thank you for being
there
there for me. Like, thank you for being a friend, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But here, like, if you look at these storyboards. A lot of them aren't used.
Yeah, right? A lot of them are not used.
This one was done. I don't know who this is. So no. So here's your proof. So these are Kazuya Tsurumaki's storyboards. Here's Masayuki. There you go.
Oh, okay.
It's Masayuki storyboards. Very interesting, but they weren't used.
No,
they're kind of alternate takes. If you look at this as alternate takes, like here's Yaguchi going to the shaky cam scene,
right?
Walking to to the inside of the building and stuff.
That actually looks a lot like Shinji.
Sure, this actually does look a lot like Matsuo. What's his name?
Oh, Matsuo.
The water bottle guy.
Satori, yeah.
It actually does look like Matsuo.
It does look, yeah.
But this one is the. Are you serious? Scene of Kayako and Patterson.
Oh,
but I just mean like it's not.
Oh, that's okay.
It's not how it turned out in the final movie. These storyboards, some of these storyboards, I really love, especially this storyboard, like the meeting scene storyboard.
I've seen a couple of these, yeah,
but they're not used. This is not the final manifestation.
I think most of the ones that were used in the end were the Higuchi storyboards. Yeah,
even this Kazuya Tsurumaki one was not used. I think. Nope. This is the Shinji Higuchi one,
and these are the ones were plastered on the walls that I saw in the
office.
Yeah.
Shinji Higuchi draws like really realistically.
Yeah.
It illustrates really well. And then this is the Anno Hideaki storyboards, dude. Fucking legendary. Although it's kind of surprising, this shot. So how it opens, I guess this is number one, the very beginning of the movie.
And then it's the boat.
That it's surprising that it opens on like this Mount Fuji thing, because the current first shot is the back side of the boat.
It's the water, and that's the first shot in the first Godzilla movie. That's
exactly
the opening shot.
So I thought that was like there from the get.
Yeah,
because it's such an obvious reference.
I think he must have thought about it afterwards.
Changed his mind. Oh, this is interesting. Where like there's this, and he draws the difference.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the bomber sequence.
I guess at least this shot is the same. This very iconic shot with Higuchi
too, I guess, is when you see his eye for the first time.
Yeah. This one's interesting because I guess even that's fine.
Even this bomber sequence is kind of close.
Yeah, this is pretty much the same.
It's the same.
He does drop. I find it interesting when the bombs drop. It's like a silent drop. There's no sound effect when he's like. I love that line though. It's like the target seems to be. What was the line?
The target seems to be like projecting something.
Firing something from the front.
Bomber 2 and
Bomber 3 will circle in from behind.
Payback time. It's like, Roger, payback. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I love, but the delivery was so specific too.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite English delivery.
That one?
Actually.
They didn't use my voice, sadly, but I had to record. I had to record that and the other one towards the end where they're like, is like Bravo 1 is that one. I had to record those two lines on my phone, and then on my phone, and then
obviously they're not going to use it if you're
and then phone. They showed like American actors in Japan to say the line as I said it.
Why?
I don't know.
You're not an actor.
I don't know. I was like and then he the guy said, all right, so
maybe like honestly, just like that he loves your accent.
It's just the American. They were like, okay, so say this line kind of sternly in the first take, and then in the next take, say it like super quickly and like panicked. So I did both, and then I sent it to them, and then apparently they gave my voice to them, and they were like, do that.
Were you present when they gave it to them?
No, I was already back in New York City.
Stateside?
So I had to like.
How'd you know they did that then?
They told me.
Oh.
They sent me an email first, and then they Skyped me and said, "Hey Yoko, we have a request from you. Can you say these two lines and record it and send it to us, so that we have like a reference."
Okay.
As like a native person sounds like this, I guess. So
they're hiring Americans to do it anyway.
Makes me
okay. Interesting. No, but I love that line of the target seems to be shooting something from the front. Bomber 2 and Bomber 3
circling from behind. Payback
time. Or I don't know if it's payback time. I think it's just.
It was payback and then Roger payback.
Yeah. But it's like slightly more American.
It is.
Like,
it actually
sounds that the
normal.
Fucking pilots are taking into their own hands.
Yeah.
Like the pilot is deciding to do payback time.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's okay. All right.
Right? Like in the Japanese, it's the hierarchy. It's the prime minister has to be the one that says.
But
they
get
the fucking
whatever controls that.
The B2 is like payback. He's like telling the general. Like
Bomber
2 and Bomber 3 will
circle from behind.
I'm not waiting for your orders to circle from behind. I'm telling you, Bomber 2 and Bomber 3.
I think that was the biggest gap. Is that like a lot of American audiences, I don't think understood the satire of like it takes Japanese people to like have so much time to make a decision. Like I don't think the American audience got that, but. Apparently it rings super true is that like they take so long to make one minuscule decision and that leads to a bigger thing like in Fukushima. So it was interesting to see that, and as you were saying, like the bombers are like, oh yeah, I want to do this now because I have to get rid of this guy. I'm here. I'm just let's do it. And they're like, oh yeah, go ahead, please do it.
I know.
And then it's like, can we do it?
Yeah.
Can we do it?
There's civilians. Can we still do it?
Hey, Prime Minister, can we do it? No, we can't do it. We can't do it. Like, all right. You could have just went direct to the source, but no.
Right.
It's really interesting. Even to see the culture gap.
Even in the tactical room with the Prime Minister and then the woman, the very distinctly the only woman.
Yeah, in the war room.
The Prime Minister tells the woman tells the general.
And the general tells them.
And the general tells the...
It's like, I was like, oh.
Although, to be fair, I think like probably the American hierarchy is similar. I mean, I doubt that the president directly tells the general.
No, I think it's similar, but I don't think it's that many. It's that many links, I feel like. Yeah. But I'm sure it's like the army guy has to report to like the superior, and then that superior contacts the general, then the general contacts the president of the United States. But just like the amount of like you guys are in a state of emergency, and yet you have time to like call individual divisions in the government and say like, can we do this? It's like, you can just go ahead and do it like those bombers, but
you gotta take it to the Americans, man. Bomber 2 and Bomber
3 circling
from behind.
I call payback.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah,
payback. Roger.
Like, oh yeah, but I think it was because like Godzilla took down one of the bombers, and they're like, oh, now it means business.
Yeah, he's like pissed.
Yeah.
Bomber 2 and Bomber 3. Bomber 2 especially is pissed.
That was my friend.
Yeah. I mean, you like consider. I mean, like if you take the American movies, like I'm thinking like Transformers,
or like
Independence Day. The way those military people, those guys really take it to another level.
Oh yeah,
the American depiction of military independence is like another level.
Yeah.
Bring the heat.
It's like do it
now.
And then like the strike team comes in with like just 2 minutes later. It's like, okay, you deployed the strike team already. All right, but yeah, it's interesting to see how in Japan they show like how their government working, and over here how our military works. Like in Transformers, it's like call the airstrike, and then
call the airstrike, bring an airstrike,
and they're already there. It's like, oh great, do it, kill the Decepticons.
Yeah, fire right now.
It's like, okay, I guess you have the authority to do that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting to see how all that kind of like plays together in the film. Bomber 2 and Bomber 3.
Yeah, there's some great stuff in there. Like even more memorable than the other ones. Let's see. Were you there for like the I just wonder how they filmed that early morning in Tokyo scene?
I wasn't there for that.
You were there for that?
No, that was
But you were or were not?
I was not.
Okay.
That was a C unit where they take like scenery shots.
How many units are there?
3. So A is with the actors, and B is with the effects, and C is like scenery stuff.
Oh, so like establishing shots?
Establishing shots, yeah. So
so kind of stuff. That's interesting.
So I had to I was needed to be like on set in the studio to help out with the effects stuff. So I couldn't like just jump out and just kind of go on like a road trip around Tokyo.
With the C unit?
Yeah, with the C unit. So I was kind of stuck in the B unit.
I imagine Anno is only in A unit and sometimes in B unit and never in C unit.
He's not in C unit, but he does, of course, like he gives you like he'll take like a picture and be like, get this.
Oh yeah?
Like this exact shot. Kind of like in these pictures where I think Anno directly took those pictures and
you mean the location hunt pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I showed them to C unit, and they were like, and he's like, get this shot, like this exact shot.
But he's so specific, like the millimeter thing.
He is.
How's it even possible to like send out someone to do it?
I guess he just trusts them. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea how it worked, but he was not there for a C unit, like any of C unit.
Yeah, it doesn't make. I don't know. It doesn't make that much sense for a normal director to be there, but then considering how specific Anno is, I mean, the thing with C unit is just like that scenery stuff. You have to wait for the weather to be like specifically the weather you want it. You can't just. So I wonder what how is the production schedule? Although this is a general filmmaking question, not a Shin Godzilla question.
Well, for the most part on set, the weather was pretty nice because we were filming, and I'm assuming that stuff was filmed in like early, mid-September, early October. So it wasn't raining heavily. It wasn't cold or hot. So I think they were able to get the right shots that they wanted, and also in the same lighting as well, because they have to figure out like it has to be like exactly.
So C unit. So like, how many PAs were there?
Including me, there were 5. And
that's not that much.
No, it's not that much.
But you're talking about throughout A, B, and C unit?
Throughout A, B, and C unit.
How is that even possible? I thought there was going to be like 10 PAs per unit at least.
I think, so they had like other specific jobs, like camera assistant, but like just like general PA was like 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Throughout 3 units. That's like...
Throughout 3 units, yeah.
That's like 1.5...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It was 6. But it's still...
So 2 PAs per unit.
Because it was me and another guy on B unit, and the other 2 guys were on A unit. And the other 2 were kind of like interchangeable around the units, so they would do like other stuff and like hop in between units.
Got it.
But yeah, it was, and I was the only one who stayed for the entirety of the shoot.
Production-wise.
Yeah, 2 of them came in like a month or 2 after I came in, and then the other guy who started with me.
So you were the most senior one.
I was the most senior one. So like in the credits, I'm like the second billing.
Oh shit!
For PAs, I was like, oh shit, that's
you're in the credits?
Yeah, I'm in the credits. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, there's another Higuchi in there somewhere.
Right.
Like, it's after Charla's name. Okay. So once you pass her name, the next Higuchi, that's not his.
Shinji.
Yeah, Shinji is me.
Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was cool. It was like 6 PAs, and one of them left early for school, and the other 2 came in like from like art school. Like, they got the connection from, like, their professor or something like that. Right.
Dude, you got, like, one of the 6 PAs in this job.
Yeah, that was...
Like, that's, like, insane.
Yeah, that was interesting. And I also thought, like, how many other Japanese, like... young people applied to this job.
Like, yeah, I'm thinking, like, it's a huge...
Yeah,
it's a superstar power thing, right? It's, like, the biggest franchise... Is there another bigger franchise than Godzilla in Japan?
I guess not.
Like a long-running one? Modern, then you hit Naruto and you hit Death Note, but like a long-running thing?
I think it's only Godzilla.
That's it, right? Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Like, and it's like a cultural thing where like everyone knows what it is.
Right.
Like, even if you haven't seen any of the movies, it's like you know that shape. Right. Or like it's a dinosaur with like spines on its back. You know, like everyone knows what it looks like. So it's interesting to see like how people react to it, but also like how somehow I got in this production and I just thought of the number of kids in Japan who go to like art school.
Right.
And I'm sure they're like, I want to be a PA in the movie or something, and Godzilla must be the biggest one of them all, and it was kind of humbling to kind of understand that fact that I got in and I had no experience. I wasn't in like an art school. I was just an amateur filmmaker who loved Godzilla and Evangelion, and they were like, yeah, sure, you can come on board.
And at that point, did you PA on other films? Or
no? I've only I have been like a background actor, like an extra, but other than that, no, I haven't PA'd. So far, I still haven't PA'd in anything yet. It was only Shin Godzilla so far.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's not like a... Oh no, I've PA'd anything afterwards, so...
I think some people do expect you to PA in the States, I think, too, so that, like, you know how an American film production works. Like, I get it. But, it was cool to kind of feel like, oh, shit, like, I was 1 in 6 people who got into this big thing, and I'm just some kid from New York City.
Right.
Who just sent a letter, and, that was, like, that whole journey just kind of began from that one note that I wrote. So it was super humbling.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess they love Americans, I guess.
Is that it? Is that the thing?
I'm not sure. Like, they were super, like, they all, like, asked questions, like, a lot of questions about Americans and America. And, yeah, and I guess, like, I was one of their first contacts who was an American but also was Japanese. Mm-hmm. So I can
Dude, you're like Kayoko Ann Patterson. You're like Kayoko Ann Patterson.
Because she's like I think she's born in the States, and then she's like
she's like third generation.
She's third generation Japanese.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because the actress Ishihara specifically wanted a New York accent
for
the role, which was
okay.
I was like, okay.
But did she talk to you?
No. But I've seen her once at a dress rehearsal, and then afterwards at the rap party for
what's a dress rehearsal?
Yeah, the dress rehearsal. It was Higuchi in a room with a bunch of different costumes for her, and he was kind of there for a costume fitting, but also kind of describing the character to her, and he literally said, "Imagine Misato from Evangelion."
No!
He literally said that.
Why? I don't like hearing that.
He literally said that.
I'm so disappointed by that.
Really?
I think that's such a like. Wait, so Ishihara watched Evangelion before?
I don't know if she had, but I think Higuchi said something like, imagine like the Misato type. Like,
okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Like that strong, kind of like strong, but kind of like a little quirky. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can see that.
Anno loves in films. Yeah, like that was his whole thing of he had to describe the character to her in a very easy manner that she can understand.
Right.
As they were saying, like, here's a different costume, here's a different costume, and she had like her agent there and like a bunch of other PAs there, and I had to like set up the coffee for them and the snacks and stuff. So that was the first time I saw her, and then I saw her a couple of times on set, but I never like talked to her. And then at the production wrap party, for some reason they made me give a speech.
Wow.
In front of everyone, which was really nerve-wracking because I don't speak Japanese very well. So I got up to the mic and I was like, can I do this speech in English? And they were like, sure. And I was like, okay. And I did the speech in English, and I just like walked off, and the look on Ishihara's face was like, why hasn't this person been here before?
Hasn't been here before.
Because like I speak perfect English, but I'm Japanese, so it was that like moment of like I should have had him like next to me on set, like to like prep me and stuff.
Oh really?
But I was like never around her.
Right.
So it was that moment of like, what the hell? Like where did he come from?
Right.
And then the line producer had to come up on stage, and he was like, Yoko's from New York City, and he's been here for the past 4 months, and we're super grateful that he's here, and everyone clapped, and I was like, I shouldn't be talking, like I'm just a PA.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I'm like a nobody, like
right.
Like the producer should be talking, like not me.
Right.
But
I guess they can't make Anno make a speech.
Anno,
I did see him give a speech.
He gave a speech. So he gave, from what I've seen, 2 speeches. It was one at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Where it's at the meeting, it's the initial meeting where they gathered the entire, not cast, but it was the entire crew in one big
very
room.
Big room.
It was it's that wide table room. I'm like in the back. He
was like, what should I?
Yo, yeah.
That one?
I was there.
You were there. I was gonna ask.
I'm in there. Yeah, I'm in like the back. And in the behind the scenes clip, if the camera just moves like an inch that way.
Yeah.
To the right, like you can probably see my head, but I was in that room, and it was so. I had to introduce myself as Yoko Higuchi, like PA, and everyone laughed because I had the same last name as Director.
Is that not a common last name at all?
I guess it's common enough, but the fact that like there was no other Higuchi that I've known on set besides him, so it was kind of like a. That kind of thing of like, are you related? So it was a little embarrassing to kind of introduce myself in front of a room full of like professionals.
Does Shinji Higuchi have children?
I think he has a daughter, I believe. I don't know much about his family life, but I think he has children. I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he was in the room, and then Anno gave that speech that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the first speech that I saw. And then the second time I saw him give a speech was he gave a speech at the VFX wrap party.
Okay.
And this is like a month before the movie came out. This is like super late in the game.
Got it.
Yeah. And he was saying how the visual effects are amazing, and he actually added like 2 minutes of effects shots because he liked it so much.
Okay.
So he gave the whole speech of like, thank you to the effects team for doing such a great job, and that was the last speech that I saw him give. So in my time on Shin Godzilla, it was 2 speeches.
Right. But I mean, in those 2, well, I only listened to the first one.
Yeah.
Because I think that was published, the VFX one, because it was after party, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
He seemed fairly sociable
Yes, I think he is better as like a speaker than like individually. I think he's better at giving a speech rather than kind of like
connecting with one-on-one.
Yeah, connecting one-on-one, because giving a speech is kind of like on a grand, kind of like a vague scale where it's not like a person-to-person connection. It's more like I'm going to give you this rousing speech to kind of motivate you to work, that kind of thing.
Right.
But when it comes down to people, he's a lot more quiet and a lot more kind of soft-spoken than his speeches. Like, his speeches are different to how he actually speaks, a little bit.
Right.
So it's interesting to see like that like change.
Like, I think his public appearances, the videos that we've seen on YouTube and stuff, contrast heavily with like what you described.
I think he might be kind of getting more comfortable with the idea that he has fame. Maybe that's what I'm assuming. I don't know what it is, but he does seem more out there than he was like 10 to 15 years ago. Like he's way more like in public. He's giving lectures about tokusatsu and anime in different lecture halls and things. Yeah. So I think he's as he's getting older, he's starting to kind of come out of his shell, not as an artist or as a person, but as a public speaker.
As a public figure.
As a public figure. There we go. And he's begun to kind of spread out in the world and talk more, which I think is great. Like, I think he should let his voice be heard more than it already is now. So
yeah, I mean, Higuchi got an Instagram account. I don't know if he has a Twitter account.
From what I know, no, he has an Instagram account, which I do follow.
Even Sagisu Shiro has a Twitter account now. Recently.
Yes, I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, recently. Relatively recently.
I think he's
last month or so.
I think he's in like Paris, I believe. He apparently, I think he lives in Paris.
Does he now?
I feel like I heard that from a staff member that
sounds believable.
Anno and him were collaborating on the soundtrack through like Skype or something. Yeah.
I feel like it must be relatively hands-off. He lets Sagisu Shiro do his thing.
I don't know how that relationship is, but probably.
Yeah.
And they seem, at the Shin Godzilla versus Evangelion concert, they seemed very like chummy, like very comfortable with each other. So
did Anno go on stage?
Anno went on stage, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But like even like at the after party too.
At the after party,
they were super.
Did you meet Sagisu Shiro?
Not like personally, but I was like in the same room with him.
Got it. Yeah.
I was probably like 6 feet away from him.
Right.
Yeah, and he gave like a little speech like, "Thank you for coming to the concert, and it's been a great journey," and blah blah blah. And so I shared the same air as him.
Yeah.
I couldn't say hi because he was so busy with all the other people at the party.
I mean, he's like the man of the show.
Exactly. So I was gonna be like, excuse me, I'm a fan. Like,
yeah,
can we meet? Like, I didn't want to be that guy, so I was like, you know what, let him do his thing for tonight, and just maybe in the future I'll meet him. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, but it was cool to see him in person.
Right. But back on the other cast, you said Ishihara Satsumi.
Yeah.
If she wanted a New York accent,
could have just talked.
And then you were a New Yorker and a Japanese person.
You could have just talked to me.
Well, I guess like the reasoning for the studio was they had Charla, right? That was the reasoning.
And also, I think like, and this too, it makes sense. It's not my job. My job is just a PA.
Like you're not a professional translator.
Exactly. So it's completely understandable.
Right.
As to how like I was not consulted or whatever, because that's not my job, and they knew it wasn't my job. So it's fine.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was interesting. She had a look of like crap.
Right.
I should have spoke to this guy.
So what was the actor's name for Yaguchi Hasegawa?
Hasegawa, yeah.
Did you meet him?
No, but I was around him, and I didn't meet him, but there was a moment in the Toho cafeteria. There's this cafeteria where you can order like ramen or curry rice or that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And you can eat there, like it's super cheap and affordable. So I used to eat there like every day for food. And of course, if you work on a film, the cast has catering, you know, because it's like, you know, be on set, eat on set, and like kind of go back, and not like be in the cafeteria with like all the other like Toho people.
Okay.
And for some reason, I was eating my lunch, and then I kind of look far away, and then on the other end of the cafeteria is Hasegawa alone, like eating his food.
Okay.
In the cafeteria, just like alone, just quietly, and then like he quietly puts his tray back and like quietly leaves.
Right.
I was like, huh, okay. I guess he just wanted to have like that like alone time, just like decompress a little bit.
Okay.
But it was kind of like, it was kind of soothing and I guess humbling to see, because I don't know how famous he is in Japan, but I'm assuming he's like an A-lister.
Yeah, I think he's fairly A-listy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like seeing like Brad Pitt in like a cafeteria, just like eating by himself, and like quietly walking out the door, like just so nonchalantly.
Right.
So that was kind of humbling to see him, and I guess that's a little telling of his character a little bit. Like he's not big about his fame or that kind of thing. Like he's very like down to earth, and apparently he's super funny.
Yeah.
I haven't like spoke to him, but like
I've seen some trailers of him acting in like comedies, and it's very like he seems to have a lot of range.
He's I think he has a lot of range, as you said, and everyone that I spoke to who like knew him pretty well says like, oh, like he's really funny.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm like, oh shit, like I would have never thought that.
Yeah, you can't tell from Shin Godzilla.
No, but he's like very, you know, serious and cold, but apparently he's super funny.
Right.
And I saw a clip, and I guess this proved it. On his last day of shooting, he was like dancing on set. He was just dancing.
Okay.
And there was like a video of it at the rap party. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I guess he's like a lighthearted dude.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even in his public appearances with like the other cast members, he seems like a very serious guy.
Yeah, and he's very not to the level of Anno, but he's also a very soft spoken. He's very polite, very kind of sincere, I guess is the correct word for him. Is that it seems very honest what he's saying, and it seems true, I guess. But yeah, he's a good guy. I haven't met much of the other cast members though.
But Matsuo was your like homie.
Matsuo was the one that I spoke to a lot, and occasionally I still chat with him every now and then.
I guess he's the most like outgoing, like everyone.
Yes.
Come together. Let's be
he's super like. I think his character in the film is like a politically exaggerated version of himself a little bit.
Yeah, he's like himself.
Yeah, that's
from
very
his
much
character.
himself.
Yeah.
But outside of him, like I didn't have much interaction with the rest of the cast. Like, of course, I did see them because they're just on set.
Right, they're over there.
Yeah, they're over there. Like, okay, so he's over there. But I don't watch like modern Japanese movies, so I didn't know anyone, and I guess that made it easier for me because I didn't get starstruck by anyone.
Right.
Like it'd be strange if if I was working on an American film, I saw like Brad Pitt and like DiCaprio and like George Clooney like all in one room. Like I lose my mind.
Yeah.
But in that environment, I just kept my cool because I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we're all coworkers here. Like we're all like doing our stuff. Except Anno. Except Anno. And also Higuchi too. Like I was a fan of his effects work. So and anyone who works on Godzilla is as kind of a heart-to-heart thing for me.
Was everyone like on the staff there like a fan?
A lot of people on the staff, especially in the effects department, were like former Godzilla effects people. Like a lot of them worked on the other films, and they told me like a bunch of stories about the other ones, and they're all like super experienced in terms of like a tokusatsu stuff. And even outside of Godzilla, like a lot of them did like Kamen Rider or Ultraman, like a lot of those like tokusatsu TV shows and movies, that kind of thing. Right. So a lot of those effects guys are like veterans in the industry, plus some like young people.
Yeah, I mean more so like the young people. Like you were a Godzilla and Eva fan.
Yeah,
and that's how you got your interest in it.
Yeah.
were the other PAs like random PAs, and the PA was their job, and they just got landed on Shin Godzilla, or did they specifically go for this project?
The other PAs were kind of. There was only one other guy who was like super into movies in general, not super into kaiju or Eva stuff, but like he just loved movies.
Okay.
As an art form, and he knew stuff like me, like he just knew a lot of movies, and he just watched a lot of movies. But everyone else was kind of like, oh yeah, this is a job.
Really?
And like I want to work on film, but like I'm not like super knowledgeable about film. Like one of the guys that didn't know who Clint Eastwood was.
Sure, but that's fine. He's Japanese.
I guess, but like
that's like me not knowing who. Like,
it was a little shocking that like somebody who wants to work in film doesn't know who Clint Eastwood is. Like even if you're Japanese, like Clint Eastwood is kind of like a big.
I don't know. I mean, it's a very specific Western.
That is
genre,
true. Like a lot of the.
It's like me not knowing like. Toshio Mifune.
I guess, yeah. But a lot of the crew gave him shit for it. It's like, what?
Oh, yeah?
It's like, what? You don't know Clint Eastwood? How dare you?
Right.
You have to watch his movies now. It's like, okay, I'll watch him.
Right.
Yeah, so, besides a lot of the other crew members, like the effects people, all the PAs were kind of like just people.
Yeah.
Who wanted a job in the movie industry, but weren't too knowledgeable about film in general.
Wait, they want to work in film, but they're not
super knowledgeable about film.
Okay.
Yeah, like they want to work in the industry, but they're not super like encyclopedic.
Right, they're not cinephiles.
No,
but they want to work in film.
Exactly.
There's nobody that's just like, yeah, this is a job.
And I found it interesting that they didn't have like the want to be a director. Like a lot of them wanted to be like PAs.
They wanted to be a PA.
They wanted to be like not only a PA, but like that position where a person who tells the PA like what to do, they're working up to that position.
Like, yeah, sure.
So like the one step above PA, or like 2 steps above PA is what they want to be like working ultimately, or like a producer, like some of them.
Sure, but, yeah, producer makes sense. The PA does.
But I haven't met someone on the crew who wanted to be a director outside of me, which was interesting. And a lot of them were like, "Oh, really? You want to be a director?" Like, they were shocked.
I think it's like maybe that like an Asian humility thing.
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
Like they don't want to proclaim their aspirations.
Maybe
also,
that.
Like,
you know what? That could be
it
too.
Gonna wear it on their sleeve.
Right.
So.
And I come from here, so I'm like, I want to be here.
Yeah.
I want to do this and that.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's like the American bravado.
Yeah. So. I'm gonna do this in the future.
So maybe it's like, oh no, this is what I want to do. Like it's that.
I guess.
I don't know.
So maybe that's why the adults were more taken aback by like, I want to be director. It's like, oh really? That's really neat. I'm like, oh, I guess is that neat? I'm working in the film.
Right.
Like
I think in like an American production, most of the PAs.
Yeah,
like director. Or,
yeah, they're working up to be a director, or like at least like art director, or you know, it's like a specific
like higher up in the chain. Than
exactly.
PA.
But a lot of them who I've met in the production wanted to be like those guys in the film production that like coordinate stuff.
Okay.
Like in the office spaces.
I mean, basically manager,
that kind of thing.
But in film.
Yeah.
Which I get.
They manage like all the production people and that kind of thing. So they're kind of working up to that position. But it was so strange.
That's a fun position.
Yeah. But it was so strange to me that I haven't met anyone like a creative.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a shocker to me.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like a lack of ambition, because I grew up in Asia. I grew up in Hong Kong, and it's like I think there is a lack of ambition, at least with the crowd that I was with. Maybe it's that, who knows, but anyway, it's just speculation at this point. But so who are you hanging out with day to day?
I was hanging out with the effects people, so it's like the special effects cameramen, the the effects director, Onoe, and his people, his AD, his like chosen people, and a lot of the dudes who do like pyrotechnics,
right,
and a suit stuff like the animatronics.
So it's fairly like flat hierarchy in that sense.
Pretty much, everyone just kind of had a job and like did their thing, but there wasn't like a hierarchy.
But I mean, like I'd say like when you took breaks. Lunch hour.
We had like a lunch hour. We had like an hour, like maybe 12 to 1 or 1 to 2, something like that.
Okay.
And we all just kind of left and just ate.
Right.
And came back. And in the B unit, there's maybe 30 of us. I want to say it's not that big, but sometimes it can get pretty big. But I want to say it's about 30 people.
For a big Godzilla film, that's not.
Not a lot of people.
Not a lot of people.
Yeah, but one person has to do like 5 different tasks at one time.
How many people are in A unit and C unit?
A unit is a little more.
You said the entire crew was 150, right?
It's like around 150.
Okay.
I think A unit is the biggest unit.
That would make sense.
They have to handle all the actors and all the cameras and.
Yeah, that makes sense. And management.
Yeah, but we in the B unit just are allowed to be in one studio.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's not that hard.
You're just at the sound stage, right? Where the big giant animatronic is.
Mm-hmm. But also some people who come in, there's 30 of us who are always there, and then like 15 other people who come in and like paint stuff like on like the miniature cars and that kind of thing, and then they leave. So after their like job is done,
they're
like
done, they don't need to
they're gone. Yeah. So I guess in total, it would be like 45 people, but only 30 of those people are like there every single day.
Right.
With me working like nonstop.
Yes, sort of somewhere like freelance. You could think of like temp people. They just bring them in when they need them.
Exactly.
But you were showing me that picture on your phone of you next to the animatronic Godzilla, right? Were they not concerned about leak?
They were concerned, but I think there was also like a level of trust in between everyone. It's like, I know you're not going to, so go ahead. But if something does leak, like, we know who it's going to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you're in the picture.
Yeah, I'm in the picture too. Plus, like, it's like, we all know...
Did everyone take a picture, or was it just you?
Everyone took pictures. Like, everyone had their phones out, and they were, like, recording stuff. So that's why I felt like it was okay to do that. Because if everyone didn't pull out their phones, I probably wouldn't either. Because it's super disrespectful to the team. But everyone was, like, recording stuff. So I was like, okay.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Like, you think that'd be, like, locked down on this shit.
I think it was a little stricter on the A unit side,
right?
Because it's more like actor plot stuff. Yeah. But a couple pictures did leak, and we still don't know who it is. I feel.
Damn, that sucks. Pictures of what? Godzilla?
Of the animatronic itself, and it was suspicious.
Oh yeah, I probably saw it.
Yeah, and it was suspicious because those pictures came out on my birthday.
Okay.
It came out on January 3rd in 2016, I remember. And then, like, we all got an email about it. And there was, like, an investigation a whole investigation that went into it. And some of the crew members, like, did think it was me.
What the hell? Oh, just because it was your birthday?
Well, because apparently the leak came from the States. So somebody...
Dirty American. American, like, fuck everything up.
They're stealing our insider secrets.
No.
But, like, apparently
it's
somebody...
supposed to be just US Japan, so win-win. God damn it.
But, like, somebody gave some dude over here, like, those images, and that person leaked it. So I have no idea who it is.
Right,
and
also, they're like, only an American has contact with the American.
And like, the only American who's on set is now is back in America. So, like, it could be this too.
Dude, no wonder they thought it was you.
Yeah, and you know what? I wasn't even mad because I was like, you know what?
If happened,
if I were in your shoes, I would also assume it was me.
Yeah.
But I did explain, like, not like in like a stern way, but it was like, no, of course it wasn't me. Like, and they had their whole investigation, so like, it all checked out. So I didn't hear back from anyone. So I guess it really wasn't me. And also, like, those pictures that leaked were super low def. I have like super high def pictures.
Right. Well, I mean, you can always low def.
Oh, that is true. That is true. But also, there's another piece of proof that 2 of the pictures that came out, I wasn't there on set on that day when they filmed it. So I was like, yes,
yeah,
good. I'm in the clear.
That's good.
I'm in the clear. Yeah, I wasn't there for that day.
How come you weren't there for that day?
So they had a thing where they were gonna film the animatronic outdoors so that they could have the sky in the background, like as it like moved or walked. Okay. So it was my job to block the cars from going into the back lot of the studio, because if you go in the back, there's the animatronic robot, and it's like top secret. So all the offices in that area were like cleared out so that no one saw the actual animatronic like move. So I had to, I couldn't see it, but I had to like block the road so that they wouldn't turn back this way.
Okay.
So meaning that I was never like in that area of the shooting area. I was like away in the other end of the studio, like blocking cars from passing by.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I couldn't take those pictures.
Right.
So I was like, whew, thank God.
Right.
But yeah, that was a little nerve-wracking.
That sounds like, really nerve-wracking.
Because like I didn't want them to think like I did this. Like that's really...
That
that's the worst thing you can ever do, is like leak stuff from a movie set. Like that's really rude. But I feel like they found who it was, because I didn't hear anything. Because I didn't hear anything back. Because they said like they'll contact us back for more info, but I guess it was like quiet. So I guess
either they gave up
or they found whoever did it. But yeah, that was kind of a nerve-wracking 2 days.
Do you still keep in contact with other crew members? Or?
I do. I keep in contact with the effects director's AD. I keep in contact with him every now and again. I keep in contact with the effects cameraman, those 2 cameramen, and I also occasionally now and again I chat with the effects director, and sometimes I comment on Higuchi's stuff, and I also fixed his I fixed his Wikipedia page for him.
Oh, okay.
Because he looked on Wikipedia and found that some of his info was wrong, and then he asked online on Facebook if anyone could fix it, and I fixed it for him.
Nice.
So his info now on Wikipedia is now correct.
Right.
But yeah, it's not too many people, but I do have like a set number of people that I was close with on set that I kind of keep in contact with every now and again.
Right.
Just to keep those connections tight.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Okay, so there also was this rumor that like Anno and Higuchi switched tapes at the premiere, or switched like files at the premiere.
Right. I heard that rumor too. I can't confirm it because I have no idea.
Right.
But I know exactly what you were talking about. That like Toho had their version of it. Right. And then they had like the Anno version at the premiere.
So what my understanding of the rumor is that Toho thought the final cut that Anno submitted had too many meeting scenes, and they wanted to cut out the meeting scenes.
Right.
So the Toho cut was basically the final cut, but without certain meeting scenes. And then what happened was Anno and Higuchi snuck up to the projector room before the premiere and replaced the file.
Jesus.
Or whatever. I don't know how they project these things these days.
Yeah.
Right, whether it's a file or I don't think it's a film reel. But anyway, they switched it out, and then Toho guys are already in their seats at the theater, thinking that they're about to see their cut, but then lo and behold, it's Anno and Higuchi's cut. That's the rumor that I heard.
I heard that as well. I have no idea.
Right.
Because I guess I was just in the production, so I don't have like inside info as to what like Toho specifically wanted, but I did hear that rumor, and I honestly don't know if it's true or not, because if it is true, it sounds like a very Anno Higuchi thing to do.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I have no idea if Toho like wanted to have like another version of the film. So I really don't. I have no idea. But to be honest, a part of me believes it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's plausible. It does sound like
ridiculous.
It just kind of sounds like a cartoon kind of thing of like go to the projection room and like.
Maybe I'm going with that. I think that's just maybe my mental imagery.
But they had to switch it somehow.
Yeah.
So I guess they had to like either go up themselves or give it to somebody to go up, or I don't know. But
you've been a stupid like. They told you to go up, and you replaced it. The culprit right here.
But yeah, I have no idea if that is true or not. But in my head, I kind of believe that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing would be like, so did obviously like it's an Anno production. You said a lot of the people there weren't like big, like necessarily Godzilla or Eva fans, right? People weren't like.
Those PAs weren't, but a lot of the people who were like veteran effects people were kind of like they were into that kind of stuff, but
that kind of stuff being
like a tokusatsu genre, like you know what? No, it's mostly kaiju stuff, like the monster stuff, because their expertise was kind of like the Ultraman, Godzilla, Kamen Rider.
Oh, you're talking about B Unit though.
Oh yeah, B Unit. Oh yeah, A Unit. I didn't interact with those guys a lot, but the people who are older, like the older gentlemen over the age of 40, those guys were pretty into film, of course. So those guys were pretty knowledgeable, and also they worked on a bunch of different films as well.
Right.
Like some of them worked on the Wolverine.
Okay.
That came out in 2013 because they filmed a whole chunk of it in Japan. So some of those guys worked with Hugh Jackman. But some of the younger people are kind of like, oh, well, you know, this is a job. I don't know. Really? I'm not like a cinephile, but
I mean, how about like specifically to Anno? Like, were they Anno fans?
So I know. So the guy who is the visual effects AD, who I keep in contact with, he's a big Anno guy, and that's kind of what drew us together on the set. Was he somehow found out that I liked Evangelion a lot, and he was like, "Oh crap! Like I like it a lot too." And we had like
because you were wearing that shirt.
It could possibly be.
Which shirt was it? Was it the Uniqlo?
Yeah, I had the Uniqlo line.
Which one was it?
It was the one where it's a Unit 1 with the like red black circle above its head.
Yeah, I know that shirt.
Yeah, that
I didn't
one.
have that shirt, but I've seen it.
I had that shirt and I had to like cover it up like this.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty big though. Like even if you
it's
cover
pretty big,
you're trying to cross your arms, it's gonna.
But as long as you hide Unit 1, it's just like a red and black circle.
Yeah, because Anna wouldn't know.
Anna wouldn't know.
You never worked.
He would never know his own work.
He's never seen that thing. He's only seen that thing twice. I don't think he really worked that hard on how the circles work.
Oh, he would never animate his own stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I had like another Evangelion shirt also. That I don't know which one it was, but I had another one. But I think I forgot how we got in the conversation, but somehow he found out. And then we had like long talks about Evangelion and Anno's career, and he's also a big fan of Anno, and you know he works directly under him, and he actually.
Does he work under Inoue?
He works under Inoue, but he also worked with Anno previously. He worked on Anno for 3.0 for some of the. Oh, okay. He did some of the. No, actually, he did the most of it. He did the preview for 4.0 at the very end.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like that, like CG, motion capture stuff. He helped do that, and also he was one of the crew members in God Warrior as well.
Okay. So
he follows Anno's career a lot, and he was also a big fan of him. And he said like at the rap party, at like the Kara only rap party, because Kara had a rap party for Shin Godzilla 2, apparently. Okay. So for the no, I was not there, sadly. I wish, because it's only for Kara people, and that's like 10 to 15 guys. I think it's like.
What was the interaction dynamic? So I totally forgot the Kara. Was Kara in the credits for Shin Godzilla?
Yes, I believe so.
I feel like they're not in the beginning.
No, I think it's like one of the companies that like sponsored it.
Right.
But I think they did like some effects work. I don't know what they did, but they did something.
So Kara does 3D stuff as well.
Yes, I'm assuming they did some of the 3D.
They don't just do 2D animation.
Yeah.
Actually, Kara, just as an aside, Kara does some of the best 3D, 2D meshes.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I've only seen 2 studios that do it impressively. One is Kara, the other is God, what is it called? The one that did Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works and Fate Zero.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I know that name.
I forgot what they're called. Anyway, that studio.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only two studios. Because the opening for Eva 3, which I'm sure you've seen.
Yes.
It doesn't look like 3D.
No,
it looks
like
kind of hand drawn. When I watch it, I'm like, oh well, it's an Eva 2. Yeah, it's doing something cool.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like taken out of it and like, oh,
right.
it's just 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Even the preview.
Yeah,
for this 4, I didn't. Apparently, I didn't really pay attention, but like, I wasn't like, oh, this is 3D weird shit.
It's like, oh, it's clearly 3D. Like, no, it feels like a good mesh of the two.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, props to Carr for that.
Yeah.
So you would say only AD was a big Eva fan.
He was a big Eva fan, and he said something like, I'm going to bring my Evangelion laser disc for Anno to sign or something. Yeah, and I was like, oh wow, you're hardcore.
That's a retro.
Yeah, and he has like an Evangelion phone. They made
for the rebuild.
Yeah, they made like a rebuild Evangelion phone. It's
the rebuild that Asuka holds.
Oh yeah.
Or is the phone that Asuka holds?
I think it's.
Well, they did a few.
I think it's similar to that one. Like it's red.
There's also like a giant Android one.
Right. I think I forget which one he had, but when he turns it on, it says like Nerve.
Okay.
And like it does the whole like hexagon emergency thing on the screen, and Misato is on the bottom, and like it does stuff.
Okay.
So I was like, oh wow, you're like really into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I really connected with him through our mutual love of the show, and your question was did any of the other like stuff like pop up in the conversation? Evangelion didn't pop up in conversation, but it's kind of a weird thread because Anna was a big fan of Ultraman,
right?
Because he did that short film in college, The Return of Ultraman, and then he gave the camera people shots from Ultraman that he loved the most.
Like original Ultraman.
Yeah, like the original Ultraman.
Oh, not his student film.
Not his. No.
So arrogant.
No, that would be so.
This is my student film.
Do this because I'm great.
No. When I was 23, I came up with this great shot. You should do it like this.
Please replicate this shot.
This brilliant thing. Yeah, I came up in college. Please do it.
I'm amazing. I'm Anno. He gave the camera people like shots from the original Ultraman series, and then I looked at a couple of them, and I'm like, oh wow, like these are like Anno shots, like the shot from like through the arm, or something like that. Like so, it's kind of strange because the cinematography in Ultraman inspired Evangelion, but he didn't show Evangelion. He showed Ultraman, so it's kind of like that evolution almost from Ultraman to Evangelion to Shin Godzilla. Like it was, that was kind of cool to see.
I guess if I was on it, I wouldn't be above showing Evangelion if it conveyed the idea more directly.
And also, it is his style. Like if you want to convey like your style, I think you're allowed to show something that is like really authentically your own vision, I guess. So it makes sense, but I guess he wanted to show Ultraman, like
for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, like specifically Ultraman, he wanted to show.
Right.
But in terms of his other works, they didn't really pop up on set, like Evangelion or Love and Pop or Nadia. Like it didn't really come into question.
Right. There was no like, oh, this is kind of like the Eva. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. No. And I didn't even know that they were going to use the music.
Right.
At Decisive Battle. Like, I thought, when I first saw the cut of the film, I thought that was like a placeholder for like the actual like score, but then it plays like 3 more times in the film. So I was like, oh no, this is intentional.
Wait. That was what, a Rush film? Like, when did you see this?
I saw it on July 4th, I remember.
No, so this was, at this point, you were watching like what you thought was an early copy, but was actually the final cut?
Apparently, so I thought it was a little too early for the final cut, so I thought
it was only like early July. It came out early July 29th or something.
It came out July 29th, and I thought, because what I heard prior to me getting there was they were gonna work on it until like the very end. Like they were gonna
like the 20th.
Yeah, like they were gonna keep working on it until
really?
like everything was done. So I was expecting like a product that wasn't finished, but like 85% done. So that these next 20 days will kind of like that final 15% is gonna be done. But it was like the final cut of the film.
Mm.
So I was like, oh. They're playing the Evangelion song. Okay, so I guess it's like a placeholder for when Shiro Sagisu will make the actual track. Right. And it was super early on in the film, so it didn't click to me like, oh, this is the final like film. And prior to that scene, it's only Percussion of the Masses and Early Morning in Tokyo, and the other songs are the old soundtracks. Right. So I thought it was like, okay, so it's like a placeholder, but then it was like, it was more of an homage with the original Ifukube songs that play when he like stands up, and then Percussion of the Masses is in the first trailer. Percussion of the Masses is a great masterpiece. Persecution of the Masses is was in the first trailer. So I was like, okay, so I was kind of looking forward to that specific song, and then Early Morning in Tokyo happens, and then it's the Evangelion song. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, so I guess it's a placeholder maybe, but then it plays again and again and again. I was like, okay, so that's the final. Okay, so it's like a bridge in between Godzilla and Evangelion. That's cool. But yeah, there was no actual reference as to like, we're gonna do this thing from Evangelion, or we're gonna do this thing from Love and Pops. It was just like an organic kind of.
But it's very interesting. You said that Ultraman came up. That's like mind blowing.
Yeah.
You used Ultraman screenshots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. As we all know, Anno's a huge Ultraman guy. Yeah. So, have you seen Ultraman?
I have seen Ultraman. Not the entire series as a whole, but I've seen like the first original series and like Ultraman, like Ultra 7, Jack, Ace. Like I've seen a couple of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've only seen the original series.
The first Ultraman.
The first Ultraman. Yeah. And then a few episodes of 7.
7's good.
Yeah. So there was so when you watched the movie, it was a very fast dialogue, right?
Yeah, super fast.
And your Japanese is good enough that you understood it even without subtitles?
It was good enough, but it also helps that I read the script. That
right, because you were like pretty familiar with it at that point.
Yeah, at that point, like I knew like, oh, that's the scene where this happens and that's the scene where that happens.
Right.
But
that's true.
I had to spend I spent like 20 hours with my mom, like translating the whole thing. Like she would read parts to me and like summarize it. Not have to.
So she was allowed to have read the script?
Well, she was in my home.
I know, but is that technically allowed?
Well, I apparently I had to know what was happening, and I couldn't do that without her help.
Okay.
So I guess it was kind of like a trust thing.
Right.
Where
that she doesn't
like it will help in my position if I knew like we're gonna do this scene, like scene 148.
Right.
If I didn't know what that scene was, I would be lost. Mm-hmm. So I had to, in my version of that first copy of the script, like I wrote stuff in English on that script, like this scene is this thing, and he says this thing, and like I'll summarize it a little bit.
Right. I have like a copy of the script it came with. Actually, you probably have.
Oh, it's in the book.
Huh?
Yeah, it's in the book. Right? Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
This is the final copy.
But the cover is different from
the cover is different.
Yeah, no, I can't read that. Or I can try and read that, but I'll be reading it
I
slow
cannot
and not
read
understand it.
But on my copy, I wrote like on top, like I'll write like.
Was the format kind of the same?
It's the same exact.
It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much identical.
It's kind of weird that they gave a copy of the script like as part of the Art of the Shin Godzilla book.
Yeah, it's really cool how they did that, and even this is like different from what the ones that I have.
Oh, why is it different?
Like in terms of like some of the scenes are switched around in the original screenplay.
Oh.
The order is a little bit different in the original draft. Yeah.
How could they? Wasn't it a linear storytelling?
It was, but I think they just thought that some of the scenes would be more effective if it was in different places.
Okay.
So they switched it, I think, in the final draft. So that's the final draft.
I can see that. Like, some of the order doesn't matter. Like, they're doing parallel things or doing, like, concurrent things, but it doesn't matter that this happens before.
Exactly, yeah.
But because on IMDb trivia section of Shin Godzilla, there was a trivia that said Anno's referenced The Social Network, the David Fincher film, with regards to the speed at which he wanted the actors to speak.
Right.
Do you hear anything about that?
I didn't hear anything about that, no.
That sounds so bizarre. And the IMDb page is the only place that references that. I couldn't find its source. And anywhere else on the internet that said that. I don't know if people are just making shit up.
Right. I don't know, but it is highly plausible. Because it does feel like an Aaron Sorkin feel. It's like, we're going to talk really fast and go down this hall. Let's go down the hall. Yeah. All right, we're going to go in this room and we're going to do that. So I wouldn't say it's far-fetched, but I don't know if Anno specifically wanted that Social Network feel. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that one. But it could be true.
It seems plausible to you?
Yeah, because I'm sure Anno has probably seen Social Network. It's a fairly well-known movie.
Really well, yeah.
And even in Japan, it was pretty popular. So maybe he went like, oh, wow, like, if I do a political drama, I might as well have, like, that fast-paced tone of that movie. So it could be.
Could be true.
But I don't know for sure.
I mean, in that trivia, it also said that, like, Anno was like, if you guys don't speak fast enough, I'm going to cut the camera. I'm going to yell cut and not let you guys finish.
He actually, I don't know if that's... I haven't seen it, but it sounds very close to what I've seen.
Oh, yeah?
Like, he would be, like behind the camera. Like, he'll say, faster, 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 faster.
Really?
And the actors are, like, like, sticking their tongues out and, like, going, like, oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah.
And, he got mad once. Anno got mad once. But it was super brief. He got mad that someone couldn't get the timing right over and over and over and over again. Like, he couldn't get it right. I didn't see who it was, but he got mad.
Do you know what was the location?
It was one of the cabinet meetings, and I only saw, like, the back of the wall, and then there's a video village where they have all the screens and monitors, and Anno was sitting there. I couldn't see the actors behind the wall.
Got it.
So I saw Anno sitting there looking at the monitor, and then he got, like, a little agitated about, like, he couldn't get the line right. And then he was like, you gotta do this, like, you gotta get it right. But he never goes, like, super overboard with his anger. It's still kind of quiet and polite, but it's still, like, it's way more stern than he always is. So you know, like, oh, like, he's mad. Okay.
Oh, yeah?
That was great, seeing him mad. Like, I never thought I'd see
like,
that.
So, like, describe, like, how is he mad? He's like...
He gets really forward, more than usual. Like, he gets very straightforward. Like, you have to do it faster. Like faster. And then he'd go back, he can't do it, and then he'd go back again, and then, it wasn't, like, hostile, but it was still, like, you need to do this because we're doing a film, like, you gotta do this, like that kind of tone.
Right, no, I get it.
But yeah, that was interesting to see. I never thought I'd see him mad, but that was very fun to see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, as someone never met Anno, like, I could imagine him mad, but then after your description for the longest time, up until before you told me that you got mad, I'd be like, oh, he doesn't seem like he would get mad.
He and even him mad is like a normal person's like stern talking to almost.
Oh, okay.
But that to him is like mad.
Right.
But he doesn't get like that typical like you know, son of a bitch, like,
you worthless piece of garbage.
Like, you.
What the fuck do you think you're doing?
Do it faster. Like he never goes overboard. He just gets like super serious and stern. Like, let's do this. Like, that's this is what I want.
Right.
Like, this is the direction I want, the speed I want. Like, you gotta do this. Like, that kind of tone. But he never takes that tone like any other time on set. So I knew, like, oh, like, he's mad.
Right, got it.
Because he's always like, okay, so we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. But he never goes that mad. So that was interesting to see.
So you were working in B Unit,
Mm-hmm.
and you were talking about the tokusatsu people.
Yeah.
They worked on Kamen Rider and TV Toku. Did they talk about how like TV Toku, like Ultraman and Kamen Rider and Super Sentai differed from work on like a big feature film like Shin Godzilla?
They actually did. They said it's way harder.
Which one?
On those tokusatsu short films, like TV shows, like those are way harder because the time crunch,
right,
to do every episode. Like apparently they can't sleep because it's like every day they have to do all the fight scenes in a week so that it'll be ready for like its broadcast release, and it's way more stressful.
I imagine like they do the entire thing before they even air the first episode. Right?
They do. They keep working on it, but it's still like if the show is ongoing, they have to keep going.
So they don't make like 51 episodes and then they start airing.
No, they start like halfway in, I think.
Oh, so they make 25.
Yeah,
call it.
and then they'll start making, but they have to keep having like a good workflow.
Right.
So they gotta keep doing the explosions, keep doing the fight scenes, and they have to do it in a faster time.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot make mistakes.
Right.
Because if you do a mistake, you have to build the whole thing again. You got to do the explosion again. You got to reset the actors again. So they are not allowed to make mistakes. But on a film, you're not. I'm not going to say that you're allowed to make mistakes, but if you make a mistake, it's not as difficult to fix in a film because you have time, you have more money, you have a bigger crew, so it's a little easier for them. So they described to me like the horror stories of like them working on like Ultraman and Kamen Rider, like how they had to keep working nonstop, and it was like grueling and really intense work. So doing Shin Godzilla was way easier, but it still has its difficulties because it's a bigger film. So bigger film means bigger effects. So they need to like up the ante a little bit. Like it can't look cheap, quote unquote.
Why?
So they have to even like they have to work even harder.
Oh.
Like cause
like bigger explosions?
Like bigger explosions and more realistic explosions. Like Ultraman never looks realistic. Like it's meant to be like kind of like a campy.
Yeah.
But like a Godzilla film can't look like that. Like it has to look realistic. So it's another hurdle that they have to get through. Is even though they have more time and money, the effects have to be like bigger and better.
Right.
Basically, so it's like a new set of challenges, but it's not as challenging as like a day-to-day, like you have to complete this and the pressure is like it's on.
Right.
So it's not as bad in a film.
Did they say what generation Kamen Rider they worked on?
Ooh, that's a good question. They worked on like a lot of the recent ones.
Yeah.
Because not a couple of them were like in their late 30s, early 40s.
Okay.
So that must mean they have to be like around 20 or 21 to get in the film industry, and up to that point, I guess it's like the past 10 years of the Kamen Rider. Yeah. And some of them worked on like the early 2000s Godzilla films and some of the early 90s Godzilla films. And some of them did like the more recent Ultraman stuff. And one of the guys did like the camera work for like the old Godzilla movies too. Like he's like old. So that was cool to see like it got veterans and like kind of mid-tier, like pretty experienced, but not like that old and wise stereotype. And then you got the newcomers where like they're kind of like fresh in the film industry.
Yeah. I mean, I watched like Kamen Rider W. W is my favorite.
I haven't seen it, but I know of W.
Yeah. It'd be just cool if like you knew someone who worked on W.
Damn, I could ask around.
No. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not like a huge fan of W. It's just that.
That was cool.
I think like, have you seen Kamen Rider? Or?
I've seen like the first run of the show, but not like
the first, like the original Kamen Rider.
I've seen the original Kamen Rider, but not all of it. Like I haven't seen it.
That's hardcore.
Religiously,
because it's like bad special effects.
Oh, it's bad. Like it's really bad.
Like yeah, how did you get through that?
I grew up on like Ultraman, so it wasn't that new.
Okay.
Yeah, like as a kid I grew up on like the campy Godzilla films and like the campy Ultraman. So seeing that wasn't like a big leap. It was like a little.
It's even lower. Like,
it's lower than Ultraman.
Like Godzilla is kind of number one. Ultraman is like lower budget than Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then Kamen Rider is like way below Ultraman. And I'm more of a Kamen Rider fan than an Ultraman fan. I only like original OG
Ultraman.
Ultraman. I only like OG Ultraman, but I like Kamen Rider in general, sort of. I'm not a huge fan. I like it culturally. I just find it fascinating. This it's kind of like half campy, but it takes itself seriously. I just find it so fascinating.
I think the reason why I got through the original was my dad saw it as a kid, so it's kind of like a passing down of like what my parents saw as a kid.
Got it.
And again, like Ultraman is cheesy, but it's not that bad. But it wasn't too much of a leap from Ultraman to Kamen Rider where I couldn't unsee it.
Got it, yeah.
But it's not
Some
good.
of them was really bad.
No, they're not good.
I was watching like with my friend Kamen Rider Stronger. And it was just,
I haven't seen that one actually.
It was just like people would they would reverse the tape for a special effect, and I'm just like, wait, what?
It's like that's a good filmmaking move.
Yeah, I'm just like, but it's so like interesting to hear that like the daily Kamen Rider stuff, it's harder to film because the atmosphere of the show is so happy-go-lucky, chill, bright colors, primary colors.
Yeah,
everybody's good friends with each other. Even the bad guys are not that bad.
And they're not that bad.
Like and so, but then the production behind it is a nightmare. Apparently,
it's a nightmare. Like and I think it gives me a new appreciation of like those like Tokusatsu, Godzilla, Ultraman, Kamen Rider movies. Is that even though a lot of them are like cheeseball kind of like stuff, there's so much passion and work that goes into it that it can't just be called like mere camp almost. Like it is like its own art form.
Right. That's why like I think it's more fascinating than mere camp.
Yeah, most definitely. And like the amount of like blood, sweat, and tears they put into this product is just like it's admirable. Even though it is campy or cheesy by like Americans like effect standards, like if you look at the amount of work they put into it, it's kind of endearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That campiness.
No, it is absolutely endearing. So you talked about going to the after parties.
Yeah.
What were these? Was it like my stereotypical image of like what is it? Izakaya kind of stuff?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not too far off from what you're thinking.
Like long tables.
So
directors at one of the tables, and there's like free seating.
So there's so many people in the production.
Right, 150.
Yes, like 150 people. So we got one of the sound studios, and we just got a bunch of tables, like tables that are probably bigger than this one.
Wait, it's at a sound studio?
It's in a studio, yeah. Like
it's not at a restaurant.
No, it's not a restaurant.
So you couldn't fit 150 people in a restaurant.
No, we couldn't. Yeah. We did have like a mini like rap party, but it wasn't like a rap party where it was like everyone. It was more like a mini like effects people, kind of like we're just gonna do a dinner. It's not like an official, but it wasn't like an official like this is a rap party.
Okay.
So the official
like a B unit rap party. Would you say?
It was like a B unit dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a small dinner, and the filming wasn't exactly done, but it was like close to being done. So we were like, all right, so let's all go out for dinner and we'll eat. But it wasn't like a rap party.
Got it.
So the real rap party was at one of the Toho studios, like the actual like studio lots, and they just got a bunch of tables like this one.
Okay.
And on the outside of the studio, they had like 3 grills. And they grilled like a bunch of meat and fish and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And some of the PAs, like me and some of the other PAs would like bring trays of meat and like place them on the various tables. And
You're still peeing.
I'm still peeing. But I got to party after I set everything up. So I was like, okay, good. And then like we'll have like buckets of ice that have like beer or juice or soda or water in it. And so everyone just got to eat whatever they wanted to eat and just kind of socialize.
And this was like Japanese barbecue style? Or?
Like Japanese barbecue style.
Okay.
And at the back of the studio, they had like a little apple box and a microphone.
Okay.
And like people will come up one by one and like give a little speech. And the first one was, I think it was like one of the main producers in the film, and then like one of the Toho like execs was like, this is a great, Godzilla's back after 12 years and whatever.
Yeah. And
then like Higuchi went upstage, and then it was Kasagawa, then who plays what's his name in the movie? He has glasses. What's his name?
Oh, the Akasaka?
Yes, Akasaka.
I don't know his name.
His name is like Takenouchi, I think. something like that. He was next, and then it was Ishihara, and then like some of the other crew members, and then like I gave a speech.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before.
Were you the last one because you're
no, I was not the last one. Like there were other people after me who also gave speeches.
Is it like down the hierarchy?
It wasn't down too much, but
when did Anno give a speech?
He wasn't there for the first one. He was there for the second one.
Oh.
Yeah, but Higuchi gave his speech pretty early on.
That's so bad. Why is he not there? He's the director.
He doesn't like parties.
He just doesn't like it.
He doesn't like parties, and like everyone kind of accepts it because it's like that's who he is. So it's like, you know what, you're Anno. You get to do whatever you want.
Right.
So can't really blame him. But yeah, and we all kind of gave our speeches, and we all ate. We all drank beer or juice or water or whatever, and then it ended. And then the VFX party is also super similar. It was the same studio space. They got the same tables, and like the grills were in the front. You got the meat. You got the beer in the ice bucket.
You still had to bring the food to the table.
I didn't actually.
Oh no.
I brought some of the materials over like super early on, and then I got to change my clothing for afterwards, but I didn't have to bring the food at this time. So I was like,
were people dressing up to these parties?
No, it was just like it was super hot that day, so I needed to change. Like those Japanese summers are just it's murder.
Right.
It's like 98 degrees and like and the humidity is high, and like I can't take that kind of heat. So I'm like drenched in sweat. So
you don't care about dress code, right? At a film production.
At a rep parties, no, not really.
Or about during work.
Work, no, it's just like a t-shirt. And
yeah.
Actually, it's better if you wear like the clothing you don't need, because like it'll get dirty, it'll get like ripped and torn and
really
and worn. So yeah, like I bought
because you're like putting out fires, dude.
Like I bought 3 pairs of shoes.
Really?
Because they all got like charcoal black at the end of it. Yeah, and I would come home like covered in ash.
Wow.
A few days.
And blood, apparently.
And blood for one of the days. I was riding a train like a serial killer.
Yeah.
So like, you shouldn't wear like
your favorite clothes.
Your good pants or like a shirt that you like. You should.
Oh yeah.
You really shouldn't do that. Just get like a plain like black shirt and just like sweats, and then like just a random pair of sneakers that like you don't care about.
Right.
And so that way, you're not like, oh no, I liked these shoes.
Right.
Now they're ruined because of the ash. I had to clean up.
But there's Shin Godzilla ash.
There's Shin Godzilla ash. So, you know what? I wasn't even complaining that entire time. I was like, you know what? It's all worth it in the end.
It's freaking ash that Anno asked you
exactly.
to put on your shoes. You better appreciate.
Exactly. It's also motivation that like if I want to complain, I'm like, oh no, I'm so tired. I'll turn around and like there will be Godzilla in the corner.
Right.
Of the animatronic. I'm like, you know what? I can't. For his sake, I'll do good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you said that the dinner was a dinner and the party was a party.
Yeah.
What like distinguished that? Did you guys go crazy at the party or?
No. The party was fairly, it was just like a socializing event, pretty much. It was more like yay, we did it. Like, hey, how are you guys? Like, we can finally just chill.
Okay.
And not like do work.
But dinner is much more like whatever. Dinner is just eating.
Dinner was just like us eating and chilling, and Higuchi was there, and they were all like getting beers and that kind of thing. Like that was even more chill, I think, because there were no executives from like Toho. It was just like the B unit people,
right.
And like 2 of the interns from A unit, and we just had a dinner. So it was just like a chill, and it was like 20 people. So it wasn't that bad.
People. Okay. What was your relationship to the execs? Were they kind of like investors and like?
I've only met them once. Well, I didn't even meet them. I just like saw them.
Or I mean like the crew's.
The crew. Oh, Higuchi's of course because he's the co-director. He's like chill.
Oh yeah.
Them. And also he's done Titan and those are also Toho. So
right.
I'm assuming they have a good like working relationship. And everyone else is kind of like, oh, like they're the execs. We're not going to really talk to them because like that's not our place, but like that's what, there they are, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's pretty chill.
Yeah. Cool, got it. But once we come back, I think we'll do a look at your typical day
Yep.
that you had. So stay tuned for that. And we're back. So I just wanted to talk about like your typical day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about the first day actually.
The first day
You land in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to your aunt's place and you settle there.
I have like a few days of just like chilling before I had to go to Toho Studios, and I had a preview day where it wasn't my first day of work, but it was the first like introductory day of Toho Studios. So I went in, I met some of the guys, and I went to the office. As I mentioned before, on the door it said SG on the door, and that's the room where it has all the storyboards and the walls and that kind of thing. And I met everyone, and then the day kind of ended with just me just meeting a whole bunch of people. It wasn't like an in-depth kind of thing. And on the first day of work, I got the script. I got my first copy of the script.
What time did you have to go to the office?
That was I think 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. And then for the first couple weeks, there wasn't much that I could do because I can't read or write. So I was kind of mainly in the office for the most part, but I was in charge of like changing the coffee machines.
So at that point, production had not started.
No, it was just like all pre-production stuff and like location scouting. So occasionally they'll be like, "Oh, Yoko, you want to go on a scout?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That sounds super fun. Holy shit, epic location hunt for Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, location for Shin Godzilla.
You
It was
gotta be
fun.
kidding me.
Yeah. But the only thing that wasn't fun was it was super hot.
That's true.
Yeah, August.
But come on, you're doing like Anno's work.
Exactly. So every time I'm like, you know what, I'll hold in the heat for Anno.
Yeah.
But in the office, I would basically like change the coffee machines. I'll make new coffee. I'll make new tea. I'll prepare the water and like all the snacks, and just make sure that the office is clean and ready for people to like work in. So I'll like clean tables and that kind of thing.
That office already had a lot of people working there?
It had a couple people working there.
So it was largely empty.
We had two main offices for Shin Godzilla. I was working in the second one, and in the second one, that's where Higuchi was mostly there. His desk was in the back, and I would say, including Higuchi, it might be like 4 or 5 people working there at one time. But on a busy day, it could be like 10 people.
It's not that much.
It's not that much, no. But I also had to go in the other office space and then take care of their coffee and their tea and their snack situation and like set up the offices and whatnot. And that was the first couple of weeks. And then filming began, and I had to do various tasks for A Unit in the beginning. I was solely a part of A Unit because in the beginning they had that big Kamada sequence where it's the big crowd and they're all running. So they need every hand on deck for that day because that's one of the biggest days. And those days, it depends on what time the shoot begins. It could begin 9 in the morning. It could begin 11 in the morning. So I'd have to show up maybe 2 hours prior, just like set up and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then at some point, so I lived, or my aunt lives an hour and a half away from the studio.
Okay.
So the some of the guys were like, you know what, Yoko, you came all this way from New York City to be in this Godzilla film, and plus you live physically far away from the studio, and it'll take you an hour and a half to get back, and the trains will stop at some point.
Right.
So why don't you go to the effects department, because A, you'll be closer to Godzilla that way, and B, the filming will end like 8 or 9. Okay. So that I can ride the train in like 9:30 and still manage to get home in time. So at that point, from then on, I was only in B Unit.
Right.
And I was there when they first brought in Godzilla. They wheeled him in like the back of a truck, and they placed him in the studio. And the picture on my phone that I showed you is from the first day that the animatronic arrived on to Toho Studios.
They built it somewhere else?
They built it somewhere else. I think they have like another place where they have like makeup effects. So they built it somewhere else, and they wheeled it back into Toho Studios. So from then on, my day was I'd walk into the B Unit studio at around 9 a.m. every day.
So how long did you work for a Unit A? Like 1 month?
Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, it's not very long. So I'd walk into the B Unit studio, and the first thing I gotta do is I gotta set up their snacks and coffee and their tea and that kind of thing. That's the first thing I gotta do every morning is I have to make sure that the snack bin is not empty, it's always full, so that people can just like grab snacks and eat them like on the go.
What kind of snacks are we talking about?
It's just like ranging from crackers to chocolate to like just a whole bunch of things. It's like it's
junky.
They had boxes and boxes of snacks, like different kinds of snacks, so that every day has like a different thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's that, and I guess it's kind of true. They have that mentality of if you don't occasionally eat snacks every hour or so, like you will die of like tiredness. So I always had to make sure that snack bin was always like full.
Just like calories.
Yeah, calories. Just like we need the sugar and the energy just to keep going. So I had to make sure that the snack box was like filled to the brim with snacks and that kind of thing. And then I would have to do whatever they told me to do, and that would depend on the day. Like sometimes if it's explosions, again, it's the wet towel thing. Just run up to the explosive with a wet towel, clean the ashes and the debris in like a little broom thing. Or on like a different day, I'll have to slate for the camera.
Oh wow.
Or like tie different like ropes so that we can hang the blue screen up, or just like it's a bunch of different tasks. And then at the end, there's gonna be like a general cleanup. If there's like a big mess, like if there's like Godzilla blood, we have to like mop it, or if there's like ash, we have to sweep it away. But it does depend on a day-to-day basis as to what we're doing at the actual studio. But generally it's make sure the coffee and the tea and the snacks and the water is all good, and help out with some of the catering stuff, and just do whatever anyone says on set and just be like ready to do something.
Right.
Yeah, so it could range from anything. So that was my day in B Unit. And then at the end, when filming was wrapped, all we had to do for B Unit was we had to take down the blue screen wall. We had to like clean the studio out. All of our stuff is going to be gone. All the boxes and all the crates that we have and all the supplies we have to move out of there and put it in like a little like storage place, and make sure that studio space is ready for the next film, whatever film it may be.
That you're talking about after B Unit was done?
Wrapped.
Wrapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Another film.
No, at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when the entire film was wrapped,
Got it.
The next film will come in and they'll use the studio. So we have to make sure that it's like completely empty.
Right.
And then the ending, I didn't do much at the very end. It was just like a bunch of like office stuff. The same thing with like the coffee and the tea and the snacks, that kind of thing. And then one other thing I did for, this isn't for B Unit, but I did it during B Unit, was like English fixing, like the grammar stuff, like in this book.
Yeah.
I fixed some of the documents that they had. I wrote stuff in handwriting. That Goromaki security
Social Security.
Social Security document. Anno's assistant told me to write it in 3 different ways.
Okay.
I had to write one just like normally, just like super kind of just print style. One would be in script.
Okay.
And the other is like add your personal flavor to it. And I think they chose that one. So it's like, it's clearly my handwriting. I don't know why.
Sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then I had to edit some of the... I had to fix the English version of the script that they handed out to like the American actors because some of the grammar was a little wrong, so I had to fix it.
The American script had the Japanese lines translated to English?
Into English, yeah.
So that they had context as well.
They had context what's happening, yeah. So I had to fix the grammar of those, that script. I have the script on my laptop, actually.
Nice.
But yeah, I had to fix that. I wrote some stuff. I wrote a letter from Goromaki, which didn't make it in here.
You're not allowed to publish that script, right?
Oh, no. Yeah. Probably not, no. And it's also not even in, like, script format. It's, like, in a different... It's, like, a specific to, like, the film.
Okay.
Like, it's a little weird. Like, it's not, like, a normal script. Like, it's a little... I think it's a little different.
It's formatted differently? Or
yeah, it's formatted differently. And I think it's because, like, they don't know what an American script looks like. So they were like ballpark estimate, like this is probably what it looks like.
Yeah.
So it's not like an official script document. But yeah. What else? That's pretty much it for my day-to-day stuff. Because it really did depend on the specific day of what I was doing, and like what my specific job was.
Right. So you said you wrapped the unit and you cleared out the studio, and you went back into the office to do office-y stuff.
Office-y stuff, and then it just kind of was like, oh yeah, like we're done. Like it's.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the office days was your last day.
Yeah. They were like, you know what, like it's done. Like I can't think of anything else that you have to do, so I guess we'll call it. And then that's it. And then I guess my last official day of work was the wrap party, of like handing out the meat plates and that kind of thing. So
the production wrap party.
Yeah, the production wrap party. That was the final day of me working. And then the visual effects wrap party, I volunteered.
And when was the production wrap party?
That's late November.
November, okay.
Yeah.
And then there was a VFX wrap party, which
in July.
In July.
I feel like that was on July 6th.
And so you flew back.
I flew back to watch the movie.
So after in December you flew back, right?
Yeah.
You said December 1st you flew back here.
Mm-hmm.
You chilled in America until the Shin Godzilla X Evangelion.
Until that's the next year after that. So in 2016 I went back like I want to say like early or actually I think I went back around this time right now in 2016.
Okay.
Like
so
early June or super late May.
Okay.
I went back because I didn't know when they were going to screen the film. They said before I left back to America back in November, they said we'll probably have like a screening for the staff members like June, July. We don't know, so if you can come back around that time, that'll be great. I said, oh yeah, I'll be back. So I chose to be like around like June, July, and then it was in July. So, and then they had the wrap party for the VFX people in July.
Right.
So on that day I worked, not because I had to, but because I was like, you know what, if you guys need an extra hand, like I'll work. And they were like, okay, so if you can you do this? I'm like, yeah, sure, of course I will. So I came for one last day of work on that day, but it wasn't like an official work day. But yeah, that was my last time working with them.
So there was the VFX wrap party over in July, and then okay, I see. The
production wrap party in November of 2015.
Got it. Cool.
It's a little confusing, I know, but yeah.
And so now, and then after the premiere, I guess you were there for the premiere?
I was not there for the premiere, unfortunately, but I was there they tested the movie in IMAX and 4DX.
Okay.
So it was like a final check of the film. And I was there for those 2 days, and I had to like stay out because they had to test the movie after the movie theater closed. So they tested the IMAX screening and the 4DX screening like 11:30 or midnight. So I had to wait with some of the crew members for the trains to come back. But it was fun. Like I got to see the movie again 2 more times.
Right, yeah.
And before the release of the film, so that was cool.
And this was already the final cut?
It was already the final cut that I saw. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. And so you came back to the States?
I came back after the movie came out. I came back like probably like August 1st or something like that.
Oh.
So I managed to watch the movie after that 4 more times. So I saw it 7 times in total. And then I came back to the States in like August 1st or 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I was here for the rest of the year. And then in 2017, in March, I went back for the concert and to say hi to them.
Oh, dude, crazy.
Yeah. So I've been back to Japan 3 years in a row. So
yeah.
It's been and I might have to go back next year, so we'll see. I don't know.
For more Shin Godzilla stuff? Or
no, just for like family stuff.
Got it.
But yeah, but if I do go to Japan, like I want to make it a habit from now on, just to see at least a bit of the crew members, just to keep that connection, you know, there and keep it live. And they're super nice guys, and I love just like hanging out with them. So I would love to see them again if I went back to Japan next year. But yeah, that was pretty much it for my time. It was kind of like there was a set stuff with the coffee and the tea and the water and the snacks, but everything else was like on a day-to-day basis where I had to do different things. I had to be super eager to do like different stuff on a different day. So it wasn't like a set thing, except the tea and coffee thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you doing these days?
I'm still pursuing my filmmaking career. I'm still doing my own short films and still filming. I have a YouTube channel where I upload stuff on, and me and my crew are still writing stuff, and we're still filming stuff. And of course, the goal is to one day become directors, all of us. And it's a hard process, especially if you have a lack of funds. And you're only 23. Like all of us are in between 23 and 25.
Okay.
So we're still like a young crew, and we're really trying to make it in the industry, and we're taking every step that we can to kind of pursue that aspect of filmmaking, and Anno has been a big part of that aspect, and where a lot of his work influences mine, and I use a lot of his tropes and his style in my own, and it's kind of humbling to kind of go back and remember that I was like with him not too long ago. But yeah, I've been doing my own filming stuff, and I'm trying to find a job right now, and I'm close to finding a job, but it's mostly I want to do film on my own term and on my own time. Yeah, it's like that creator's path.
Right.
Yeah, just like keep making stuff and keep doing stuff. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/The Resistance Films. That's my film channel, and on Facebook and Twitter you can find me at Resistance0101. But yeah, that's my social media stuff.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for having me.
This really long podcast. It's a record long podcast.
If anyone is up to this point, I'll give you a cookie.
I mean, I think it was like supremely interesting.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Like, this is like before on the podcast we talk about very familiar stuff, Evangelion. Mm-hmm. This is like a podcast that's purely new information.
It's more specific, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is an epic one.
Yeah,
we've reached the double digits, and
yeah, we have,
and the bar has been raised.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening and tuning into this episode of the AnnoCinema podcast. And we'll see you on the next one.